today for him, but he's one of our most talented players, and if we're going to win this World Cup, then I'm sure he's got to be key to that. So,
He shows he cares as well.
Managers do that, though, don't they? I mean, managers must be saying, look, you know what he's like, get under his skin a little bit, anything could happen.
Well, you see what happened in '98 with Simone and Beckham.
Talk Sport.
1 minute past one. Good afternoon. Steve Clarke's disappointed for his Scotland players who are now unlikely, according to the computer, to reach the World Cup knockouts. The manager says the fans have been brilliant.
The fans appreciate what this group of players have done for them. They've had a great time, great ambassadors for the country, but they wouldn't be here without that group of players.
Meanwhile, after Clarke walked out, another TV interview following the 3-0 defeat to Brazil, our Scotland correspondent Shabana Hearn says the fans deserve a bit more of his time.
Just get on with it, pull on the big boy pants, paint your face on. You know, we work in this industry where you can't come on air and be in a bad mood all the time.
Our World Cup coverage continues with Ecuador versus Germany, live on talkSPORT tonight from 7 p.m. A Germany win puts Ecuador out and helps Scotland quite a lot. Now it's reported Wales boss Craig Bellamy's proposed move to take over at Burnley has fallen through. It's believed the Welsh FA have been trying to persuade him to stay. Over at Trent Bridge, it's lunchtime and New Zealand can absolutely tuck in, as they've been doing at the crease. talkSPORT's Sam Ellard is watching.
Yeah, they're going to enjoy their lunch this afternoon. They won the toss, and on a batting day, they have taken full advantage of good conditions. 108 without loss at lunch on day one. Latham, the captain, leading from the front, his first 50 of the series. He goes in not out on 60. Conway unbeaten on 45. A couple of half chances for England. There was a pretty loose drive from Latham early in his innings, found the outside edge, went through vacant slip, and Conway driving a Bashir ball nearly picked out route at cover. Apart from that, though, it's been all New Zealand. They're in complete control, Will, and you're right, they'll enjoy their lunch on day one at 108 without loss.
Thank you, Sam. Overseas viewers can get a ball-by-ball commentary, remember, on talkSPORT's cricket YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
The red warning for extreme heat has been extended, and back-to-back earthquakes have killed at least 164 people in Venezuela. Amelia's got more at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
30 degrees and above across England. Cooler in Scotland with heavy rain in the far north.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Good afternoon, UK, and good morning from New York. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Brad Friedel, and we are live on talkSPORT. So Scotland swept aside by Brazil. Have they just been swept out of this World Cup in the process? Meanwhile, ahead of Iran versus Egypt, the Pride match, how does FIFA balance respecting cultures and inclusivity? Also today, believing they can win the World Cup, does it make the US deluded? Third place qualifiers, is it rewarding mediocrity? Plus, some bumper guests coming your way on the show today. Top boxing promoter Eddie Hearn ahead of Boots versus Zayas, and former England and Chelsea captain John Terry will be with us live in studio. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, it's Brad Friedel, and we are live in New York. And live on talkSPORT. Hi, everyone. Thursday morning here in New York. Thursday afternoon, 5 minutes past 1 at home with you in the UK. A bit of a cherry alert in the studio. Simon came in this morning, Brad, and I'm warning you now, with an enormous container of cherries, which he has bought. Now, I would just add to that, the other day I did something similar, and this is why he's grinning. And I had a touch of indigestion on air, and no one in this studio was safe. But I managed to control myself. You sit very close to Simon, and I'm hoping that the 9th or 10th cherry doesn't have an effect on you. Brad, good morning.
Good morning. What I'm more interested in is what you have going on after the show, because you're very much dressed for upstairs for thinking, downstairs for dancing today. And I want to know where you're going, what you're up to, because you claim that's how I wanted to dress this morning. Well, I'm not so sure.
This fella sets a very high bar, as you know. Simon, good morning.
Good morning.
And this morning is no exception. I mean, look at him. That is a great outfit. I'm having that shirt for a start. I don't know, Brad. I just decided this morning, I'm feeling somewhat somber in my room after that Scotland result last night. And I thought, where's the black trousers, black shoes, white shirt? I don't really know where I'm going with it.
So you're going more funeral than wedding. I was trying to be glasses half full for you, but...
Brad and I walked back round the road last night, Simon, after watching the Scotland game, and we didn't really know where we were in terms of emotion. For those who don't know, Scotland were swept aside by Brazil.
I bet he knew he was.
3-0 last night. So at the moment, it's all up in the air, isn't it? But the sensible money goes on Scotland coming home, I'm afraid to say. The 7th at the moment, and if it stayed that way, Scotland would qualify, but it won't stay that way because 5 nations have the opportunity to leapfrog Scotland over the next few days. Cape Verde, Belgium, Congo, Ecuador, Senegal. It's out of their hands, Simon. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main crime, if you can look at it from that point of view, besides some ridiculous defending at times, I mean, I sort of make the observations about Vincent Kompany managing Burnley and being a 12th man for the opposition, the way they wanted to play out from the back. The nature of some of the mistakes that Scotland did and gave opposition that doesn't need a helping hand is something we should talk about. But really, the major crime, if there was a crime, was not beating Haiti. I know that they put a couple of good performances against Morocco, but not beating them convincingly enough, not giving yourself a head start in terms of goals. I'm not suggesting it's easy.
No, that's right.
But that was the game where you needed to win 2s and 3s to give yourself a head start, to cancel out what was likely to come. But watching last night, despite all the Mickey taking that goes on between you and I, your fans are fabulous. And every time, despite all the things I say, every time I bump into Scottish fans, they've always been fabulous. And you know what it's like with football fans. The moment you say anything about their football team, all of a sudden you're the devil incarnate. Your guys are not like that. And you just look at it and go, why give a goal away to Morocco in the first minute and a half? Why hand an opportunity to Vinicius Junior after 6 minutes, and all of a sudden the whole world's gone to hell in a handcart? So I'm a bit disappointed. But no one can be surprised that you got beat by Morocco and Brazil, because it was kind of baked into most people's thinking. Despite the fervour, despite the ambition, despite the desire, you might have been able to grind out a draw, but on the balance of probability, most people would have expected you to have gotten beaten. It's the Haiti game.
Yeah. I mean, last night it was served up on a plate to Brazil, wasn't it, Brad? Simple as that.
I mean, just individual errors, to be quite precise. In the Morocco game, it was poor defensive decision, not following the runner. It was the start of the games have been quite slow. The start of the game against Haiti was quite slow. I did the co-coms for the first 2 games. Against Morocco, they didn't really get rolling until about the 60th, 70th minute mark. What I was a little bit more surprised is that they didn't come out with a bit more dynamic players, as I had them. Like Gannon Doak, I thought showed glimpses. Hickey on the right-hand side shows glimpses. And when you play and set up defensive against the top boys, you're really going to lose because you're going to bring a lot of pressure. But then not only are you set up defensively, but you're then trying to play out of the back, already setting up defensively.
So what's the alternative then? You open yourself up a little bit and they play through you?
No. If you set up defensive, so Patterson's more defensive than going forward, for instance, then especially at the beginning of games, you have to play a bit more pragmatic and you have to get the ball into the opposition's half. You have to be able to set up a stall. What I saw in the Morocco game was they packed the midfield and then they almost had Tierney man-marking the runners as Bouhaddi would come once, then Hakimi would come once, and then they were shifting and they were making forward runs. And by about the 25th minute, 30th minute, Tierney needed an oxygen tank because he was doing this man-marking situation. And I don't think they have overall better players than Scotland or Morocco. However, I think they have better players than how they set up in the matches, because the way that they set up in Morocco and the mindset in Brazil, they were automatically losing.
I think your points are well made. And Simon, when it comes down to it, blame, and it's a blame game, but last night, blame's got to be attributed somewhere. Where though? To the players or to Steve Clarke? This was Clarke post-match.
We made it difficult for ourselves. That's it.
Up against top quality opposition like that, I suppose the frustration is they didn't have to work too hard for their goals.
We gave them the goals, we gave them the game they wanted. Disappointing.
Bit of a waiting game. Now, how do you look at what's to come?
I was waiting, I didn't even think about that. Sorry, I don't even think about that.
No worries, Steve, thank you. No worries, Steve, thank you.
What do you make of that, Simon? That was a flash interview with the BBC.
Well, I mean, look, it's a balancing act. He knows that he's got an obligation to talk to the media. The fans themselves are over here, having spent a lot of money. I suspect they probably want to hear what he has to say. You've got to balance it. You're a professional football manager that, irrespective of the outcomes, is paid very handsomely to be here. The fans have paid very handsomely to come and watch it. I guess you've got to stomach it and give the answers that people want to hear, if indeed people want to hear it. The interesting thing for me is why these players are making these mistakes, because he can't legislate for individual mistakes. But the state of mind that creates these outcomes, the pressure that these players must feel under, or the methodologies of not just getting the ball out of their feet and launching it, it evades me at times. I know that we're in a modern game where you play out, you try to beat the press and create space, but sometimes the best ball is just gone because then there's no pressure on it. I know it comes back just as fast.
But the best teams do that. If France is getting pressed and pressed and pressed again, they will play one into Mbappe in the space.
Where's the goalkeeper?
And stretch it out.
Where's the goalkeeper in the first goal? Not in terms of what he could have done, in terms of what he's saying to his player. Is he not saying to his player, get gone?
Well, if it's 6 minutes, all the players know what's happening. If McKenna gets the ball and there's a player, and let's just say his head's down. The goalkeeper will have told him, man's coming, and offer him an option. So we don't know, obviously, because we can't.
Did it look like that from the shape of what the goalkeeper was doing?
Well, he was stood in the center of his goals. I would imagine he would have said man on. The difference is when you're playing against Brazil or France or England.
They close the space quickly.
Correct.
Yeah.
But Brad, Simon, I'm very keen to get your reaction to what Chris Sutton put out on Twitter late last night.
It's constructive.
Steve Clarke, well, it is. Steve Clarke will no doubt come in for heavy criticism, but the truth against the top team, Scotland are very limited. OK. Centre-backs who've always lacked real quality, on the ball trying to play. Plenty of endeavour, but lack of guile and creativity at the top end. It's not on Clarke. That's what he says, Brad. It's not on Clarke.
They're limited to a point, but the first goal in Morocco, Hendry knew how to defend that situation better, and he didn't. Individual mistake. McKinnon knows how to get a ball out of his feet and pass the ball. Individual mistake. They're creating all the issues for him. Those mistakes are not so much on Steve Clarke or tactics or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
But what I was more concerned with in calling the games was the mindset of the players. I thought they thought the Haiti game was going to be easier. I said it wasn't going to be simple. But I thought that they would win. They should have won by 2 or 3 goals. But I thought the mindset wasn't right, and then I thought the mindset and approach was defensive in the other 2 games. And so when you're in that defensive mindset, but then you're told to play out of the back, it's confusing.
Does limited ability have to be replicated by limited mentality? Because I would suggest that the mistakes that are being made by Scotland, because they feel under pressure, the players are operating at their highest level in terms of being hyper switched on, but they don't have the bandwidth to be at that level. Can there be a replication? Because you're not technically good enough, does that mean you cannot be psychologically good enough?
No, that's what I said. Look at Ghana against England.
Oh, that's exactly my point. The Ghanaians have proven that if you play against a better side, you can stop them from playing if you want to.
Correct. The easier thing to do in football is stop someone from playing.
Yeah.
Harder thing is to stop the opposition from playing and play yourself.
Creative,
And Scotland at times are stuck in 2 minds of which they're.
Well, guys, as we know, it's a 48-team format. Some would argue it's actually easier. It's actually easier to qualify than not to qualify. But the situation is this for Scotland. 1 goal and 2 defeats. All right, so where are they? I want to hear from Scotland fans this morning, maybe over here in the US, back home, certainly in the UK, and specifically in Scotland. What's your thought? Are you resigned to the fact that Scotland are coming home? Give us a call and let's get the whole thing going. 03717 223344. After what we saw last night, have they just been swept out of the World Cup in the process? Give us a call this morning, 03717 223344. This morning here in New York, 1:15 in the afternoon with you back home. And we are live on talkSPORT.
Let's now hear from talkSPORT's very own Andy Jacobs from earlier today. And it's fair to say that he wasn't happy with Ghana's low block.
If all 48 teams played like that,
yeah,
football wouldn't exist.
No, Michael Mosbacher would be right, wouldn't
Boring.
He? Yeah.
And it's just, we'll talk about England later, but, I just can't stand.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the low block outlawed. I'd like to see, basically, if you defend with more than 5 defenders in your last 30 yards, it's a penalty.
Yeah. Jeez.
What do you reckon to that, Darren? Outlaw the low block.
Yeah, no, it's not for me. That was, I understand, but I feel like nowadays, right, we are absolutely fascinated with the way that teams play, right? So obviously, being an Arsenal fan, we've had it all season. Set piece FC, the way Arsenal plays isn't attractive to watch. We hate it. Now you got, and Arsenal don't defend in a low block. It's just what Arsenal, this Arsenal, the way that they play. Now, obviously, people are moaning about Ghana and the way that they played. Now, I didn't watch them last night and think this is boring. At not one point of that game last night did I think this was boring, because I thought Ghana defended really well, defended deep, but you could see that when they had opportunities to break forward, they'd try and break forward. They weren't just sitting there for the sake of it, like kicking it.
No, they were trying to win the game, but from a defensive, being defensively stable first.
And it was almost a masterclass in terms of tactics, because they sat in there, they defended deep, they didn't allow too much space, and then right at the end, they get the opportunity where it is a penalty with a tackle on Konza, or the guy scores it. So if they come away from there winning 1-0, we'd come in today going, Carlos Queiroz, first of all, we'd obviously attack England in their performance, but we'd sit here and go, that was an absolute masterclass of how to defend deep, kind of ride your luck at times, but then when you counter-attack, you get that opportunity and you take it.
Yeah, and that's the point. You see what you just said there? A masterclass in defending deep.
Yeah.
There was a time when we really acknowledged that as being like part of football, something that we celebrated, something that we actually admired about the game.
Yeah.
Like you think about those great Italian sides, Arrigo Sacchi, that Lippi team.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Good morning from New York. 8 here. Statue of Liberty looking fantastic out there in the Hudson. Beautiful, beautiful morning here. And you're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Brad Friedel. And we're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station. I know it's 1:20 with you back home. You're up and about, as you have been, no doubt, for quite a number of hours. And many Scotland fans thinking, what actually happened last night? And how did it happen? Many Scotland critics are alive and well. Ryan, good morning to you. Nothing like kicking us when we're down. We're talking about Scotland like it's some kind of a surprise. They're probably one of the worst teams in the tournament. Ryan, thanks for that contribution. But there you are. You've had your...
That was like our walk home.
You've had your moment of glory. We know Ryan back home. He's a regular contributor to the show, I have to say, Brad. Brad alongside Simon here in New York. Late on last night, everybody was having their say, not only about the fact that Scotland lost to Brazil by 3-0, but about the manner in which they lost. And on ESPN, two former Scotland internationals, Craig Burley and Steve Nicol, were in conversation on air late last night, and this was Burley's assessment of Scotland at this particular moment.
I have no problem with Scotland going out or any of the team that is down there because I'm sorry. I know this is the way that the bracket works with the 48 teams, but we're just rewarding complete mediocrity here, and they don't really deserve to go through, if we're being honest, and I don't think they will, barring getting lucky. And in fact, if they do go through, I think it's just going to continue the sort of embarrassment of looking like what Scotland are. And it's kind of second rate, isn't it?
Well, I've got to say, as a Scot up here, I'm not embarrassed. Far from it. Many, many things to be proud about, not least these fabulous fans. And I know yesterday we spoke about what would you rather have, all the adulation of the Scotland fans or Scotland to qualify. I would like both. Obviously, I would like both. But I'm far from embarrassed, Simon. Of course I want them to carry on in this tournament, regardless of how they lost to Brazil.
I'm not sure embarrassment is the right term. I mean, that gets you headlines and that creates background noise, isn't it? Because that's the purpose of certain people's observations at the time. We all fall into that trap. I think disappointed. I think opportunities were missed. You missed the opportunity to beat the Haitians more convincingly. That's not to suggest that they were a gimme, but you should be doing a better number on them. And you helped the opposition. You didn't make it difficult for the opposition. You helped them. You gave them a chance, a better chance than they already had, and they already had a pretty bloody good chance.
Yeah.
So that will be the disappointment. Look, the World Cup is set up the way it is. And all of the disappointing thing is, once upon a time, Scotland produced generations of players that we can refer to and know. Our friend Graham Souness, Alan Hansen, Kenny Dalglish. You can go back through the years and look at these wonderful players, even Archie Gemmell and other players, Danny McGrain, and you go on and on and on. Right?
John Robertson.
John Robertson, Joe Jordan, and you go on about these Scottish players. And the concern is, why is the ecosystem in Scotland not producing enough quality players to be able to make these observations about how you can get better and how you can improve? That's why I was so enthusiastic about teams like Hearts winning the Scottish Premier League, because I think it creates more revenue and more opportunity and more excitement about the league.
Yeah.
So what is the point, to some extent, of that observation? What is the point of asking a one-legged man to run 100 metres in under 10 seconds and then berating him because he doesn't do it? The answer is that Scotland were what we expect them to be in this tournament. The only missing situation was that they didn't score 2 or 3 against Haiti. Well, we've seen Haiti go on and put Morocco to a difficult game, so they weren't mugs either. So that sort of observation is just bloodletting and soul-searching for people to concur with, rather than say, well, actually, what more did we really expect? And it rewards mediocrity.
Yeah.
The job of FIFA now is to expand the world's game. And whether you like it or you don't, what is the absolute harm of having 32 teams and a round of 32? It makes the tournament a bit longer. I know it denies the argument around eliteness. Believe me, they'll go to 64 teams. This World Cup will be 64 teams before we know it. But I don't think it's rewarding mediocrity.
No.
I think it's disappointing, and you should manage your disappointment by looking at constructive observations about where they went wrong, rather than broad
Brad, I'm
brush.
totally with Simon on that. Briefly, we're going to go to calls, but briefly, Brad.
No, just embarrassed is the wrong word, and they do have some good players in their squad that they can build again on. And there's some good. Yeah, McTominay's good. Ferguson's good. Gilmore's injured. He's a good player. Christie's a good player. Gannon Doak's a good player. Like McGinn's a quality player as well. And they'll have another tournament in 2 years' time. And there are foundations there.
Yeah.
There were individual errors that really caught them out in this tournament in big games.
Sure. Scotland are still in this thing, I would emphasise. So let's see how it develops. I invited callers to join us here in New York, and many of you are calling in, as I knew you would, and thank you for that. 03717 223344. So let's get stuck into it. Tommy's a Rangers fan, no doubt a Scotland fan. Tommy, hi to you from New York. What's your take on last night? Where are you at with Scotland at the moment, Tommy?
Well, listen, there's nothing as a surprise to me. I remember 74, 78, all of them up, all the way down. I was expecting it to be 4-0 last night. But here's my point. Everything is 100% completely on Clark. He is a park the bus merchant. There were many of us who wanted him out, even after we qualified. And the SFA are complicit in this. They've handed him a new contract before the tournament has even started. He does not have one attacking bone in his entire body or his arsenal of tactics. He doesn't like strikers that can score goals. And as Brad was just saying there, we have the foundations of a very good team. McTominay is arguably the best player in Italy, arguably. And Ferguson, I think, is a superb player. McGinn, etc., etc. The point is simply this.
Right, you say it's on Clark, though.
Can I just say one more thing, Jim? We have had one clean shot on target in the whole tournament. That's it.
OK, Tommy, I get your point. Dave's a Scotland fan. Dave, good morning. Do you agree with Tommy that this is on Steve Clark, or is it on the players? Where do you stand on it?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm 100% behind Steve Clark. He's got us to 3 tournaments out of 4. The unfortunate thing is we're playing against the best team from Pot B, Morocco, and Brazil. They are number 6 and number 7 respectively in the world. I think great credit to Stevie Clark. The biggest problem was not scoring 2 or 3 against Haiti, but I'm definitely in Steve Clark's camp. He's done a great job for Scotland. And we're bringing on substitutes.
Thanks for the call. Oh, he was just about to finish off and interrupt him. Johnny, you can carry it on for me. A Kilmarnock fan and a Scotland fan. Johnny, what do you want to say?
Watching the game last night, it's pretty disappointing when the commentator are explaining how wonderful Brazil are, technically gifted, etc. But when it comes down to it, you can't defend like that. If you're going to defend like that against any level of football player, you're going to lose goals. So Steve Clark could have set himself up to go and attack Brazil. It wouldn't have mattered. If you give away goals like that, you're done anyway. So I just don't see how we can praise Brazil for being wonderful when we're gifting goals and we got away with one way.
Johnny, thanks for the call. You probably heard Craig Burley a moment ago, Johnny. Would you rather Scotland come home now, or do you want to see them go on, if that indeed can be the case?
No, I wouldn't want them to come home, because maybe if they get through to the next stage, there's that chance of playing with a bit more freedom, because obviously the pressure of doing something weighs heavily on the players' minds. I think we try to deliver something for the fans, which I think is probably holding them back as well.
Johnny, thanks for the call. He's right, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to see Scotland have an opportunity to play a bit freer and see if there is any validity in the fact that Clark wants to set up to negate rather than to propagate. Look, he made decisions, and you have to be accountable for those decisions. One of them would be that he drops Grant Hanley, and the player that he drops him for is the one that drops the Rick that opens the game up, that changes the whole direction of travel. Right. So if you're going to make criticisms, you make criticisms about those areas. But part of me would like to see Scotland go into a game, you know, and have a go. And if they get to the round of 32, if they're fortunate enough to get through and all the games draw, I think Scotland would be bolder. And if they're not in that respect, and they don't have a go at the opposition in a round of 32, which the only outcome can be either knocked out or stay in, then you can start levying the claims that he's just a negative manager that plays one way.
From the vantage point that I did the game, the Scotland-Morocco game, take the first goal out of it. After the first goal was scored, the game was really even on how they were possessing the ball. The big difference was every time Morocco had the ball, there were 2 or 3 players running vertically, and Scotland had 2 or 3 always coming back to the ball. It's a tweak that when you can run forward, you stretch the defense. They have to either go with you or stay. If you can turn them, then you're in. If you can't, you create space. That was the big difference. It's a tweak. So
you think the big players that Scotland have, like McTominay and McGinn, needed to do more? needed to get on the ball and do more.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll get into that after this short break. Brad, bear with me. Simon, bear with me. The other side of the bulletin, upcoming at 1:30, back home with you in the UK. We're going to be joined by, like myself, a proud Scot, but unlike myself, a very good manager in football. Everton boss David Moyes will join us live. Stay with us.
Our big players aren't like rising to the occasion, and Darren, you'll know this more than me, but I was sitting pitch side melting tonight. The conditions were horrific. Like the humidity was stifling. You know that way you're taking a breath in and there's no fresh air around you. It's hard work. And when Andy Robertson came off at half time, he walked right past me and he looked like he was laboured. He looked like it was like, you know, the end of a horse race, and you know, you could see his like side going and stuff. He was really struggling, and then he didn't come back on, you know, so there was a number of factors to come into it. I think the weather might have caused us an issue. It was blooming hot, really, really hot. We're not built for this madness.
No, we're certainly not. Just quickly, I heard you were a bit unhappy with Steve Clarke, some of his exchanges with reporters post-match.
Yeah, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I mean, who do you think you are? Do you think you're Pep? Because you're not. You know, we've not been at a World Cup since 1998, and it's incredible that we're there. And it's down to Steve Clarke. So I get that he's done his bit, but I think that's last week it happened after Morocco to somebody I've known for a long, long time. You know, you come off and you storm off from somebody like that when they've got their job to do and you've got your job to do. And then 6 days later, you do the same thing again. You know, don't understand why we have to do this. We shouldn't have to do this. Well, you do have to do this, so front into it, because a lot of people have spent a lot of money being here, following this team, representing Scotland the best they can all over the world. Everybody's loving them. And then you're our guy, you're our gaffer, and you come out and you can't even just suit up for a moment and front into it. That really, really bothers me, because we're in this industry and, you know, we've not been able to speak to Steve Clarke once on this trip, and I thought we would have had that opportunity, win, lose or draw, because
what happened in Belo Horizonte in 2014 is the stuff of legend. The Brazilians slapped 7-1 in their own country in a World Cup semi-final. But something else historic happened that day. Going into the last four match, Miroslav Klose was tied with R9 for the most World Cup goals scored. The record was 15, and Klose had matched that in the groups. With this being his last World Cup, he was running out of time. The 36-year-old had started a majority of Germany's games, but it wasn't quite clicking. Come the semi-final, he was determined to get the job done and in front of the Brazilian fans. And this was the moment. 23 minutes in. Thomas Muller peeled in from the left, laid it off, and after Klose's first shot was saved, the follow-up was fired in. And just look what it meant. The record was his. 16 goals across 4 tournaments, and the phenomenon that was Ronaldo Nazario de Lima was bumped into second place. All of Klose's doubters silenced. Germany scored another 5 goals. The home fans were in tears, and it became perhaps the most famous scoreline in World Cup history. In amongst all that, Klose's record-breaking moment often goes forgotten. But when you think of the players below him on the list, individual achievements don't get much better.
Good afternoon, everybody back home. You've got it hot again today. I see 33 degrees in some parts of the UK. Wow, how unusual is that? Sweltering. It's pretty warm here as well in New York. 28 throughout the day later on this afternoon. And if you're watching live on YouTube, some of the great sights that Joe and Susan are pulling up for us here from the 50th floor of the World Trade Center. Quite remarkable. It is a wonderful, wonderful vantage point, and we are loving this position here in New York. I wasn't loving the result last night against Brazil. Simon and Brad alongside me this morning, 3-0, but maybe it was more the manner in which the Scots went down. And now it's kind of in the lap of the gods, because at the moment at 7th, Scotland qualify in this third place table as it stands. But 5 nations have the opportunity to leapfrog Scotland over the next few days. Cape Verde, Belgium, Congo, Ecuador and Senegal. So the Scots have got an anxious wait to find out if indeed they progress. Let's get another view of it from home, and a view from one of the most respected figures in the game. A Premier League manager, no less, Everton boss and a proud Scot, David Moyes. David now in Miami, of course, because he's crossed over and is enjoying the World Cup over this side of the pond like we are here. David, good morning from New York to you in Miami. Where do we start? What was your take on last night?
Well, good morning, boys. I've been listening to you for a couple of minutes here, and everything you're saying I think is exactly right. I think it was disappointing more than anything. I think that the result on the night was not obviously what we wanted. And even the performance, I thought Scotland started the game relatively well, tried to get a little bit more of the ball than they've had in recent games, passed it well enough. But what we're seeing, and we're seeing a lot in football, not just in the Scotland game, defenders getting caught in the ball, or goalkeepers making mistakes, and you're wondering why they're playing from the back. But that happened to us, and it really was incredibly costly, because we had sort of opened the game up relatively well. We'd started in the first sort of 9 or 10 minutes relatively well, so it ended up not a good night for us, and obviously the end result was disappointing as well.
Hey, David, it's Brad. Hi,
Brad.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
I was at the first 2 games live, and I think McTominay is a brilliant player, but I felt that they were asking him to work almost too hard. And that's a credit to him, because he's willing to do the work. But he's such a good player in the attacking third for Scotland. I thought he was asked to do far too much, so he's probably a bit leggy when he did have the opportunity to be on the ball. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I've got to say, I thought last night wasn't his best night, that was for sure. The only thing I will say, he still probably had our best opportunities. He had 2 headers, 2 opportunities, which maybe on another day his headers might have gone a bit the other side of the goalkeeper and got away with it. We put in a couple of good crosses and he got the end of it. I've always felt, Brad, that even through the last year or so, I think he's been better when he's played much higher up. I think that he got caught in the ball several times last night, but I think when he's played higher up and nearer the opposition goal, he's been a bigger threat. And you're right in many ways, maybe they've asked him to do a bit more work, but he's in that position where he's in between a midfield player and an attacking player. He's had to do both roles. But I think more importantly, it was just that he never really got to grips with the game, I didn't think, all night. But as I said, he still probably had Scotland's best 2 opportunities.
When you look at Scotland over the 3 games, David, what is your overall assessment and takeaway? I mean, most of us looked at it and felt that Morocco and Brazil would be a reach to get anything from, and that the outcome of the Haitian game would be important and that goals needed to be scored. Criticism is being made of Steve Clarke. I'm not asking you to jump on the bandwagon, but the manner in which Scotland have played, the lack of bravery, the fact that they've been very negative in lots of people's minds, and Steve is a defensive coach. When you hear all those things, what's your assessment of these 3 games and the opportunities that Scotland have either taken or missed?
Yeah. Well, we spoke the other day. I think the biggest word you're missing here, Simon, is quality. I don't think Scotland have the quality at the moment available to them to compete. I'm not saying that on the odd day that you wouldn't beat one of these teams and get good results, which we did against Denmark, for example, when we get through those games. But I just feel that generally Scotland have been short at that level. We talked about it a few days ago when we were talking about the Haiti game and only winning 1-0. We all felt it was a really good result. Not a really good result, but a good result because we had got 3 points. But you were right what you were saying. We probably needed to score 3 or 4 goals, but I don't think anybody who's played Haiti yet, or certainly Morocco, have found it that easy. And I don't think they've been as easy a game as what maybe everybody hoped it might have been. So yeah, it might have cost us not scoring 2 or 3 goals in that one game. But I think us getting a victory in the opening game of the World Cup seemed like a good result for us and a good return. But
David, are you saying virtually that it doesn't really matter who's in the Scotland dugout? This is as good as it gets.
Mm-hmm. Like Steve Clark's done brilliant, Jim. You know as well as I do. We've not been able to get to competitions. Steve has. Steve's got us there over the last few years, a few competitions, I should say. With what I think is not a great deal of quality. I heard you at the top of the show there, a part of it saying about, how does Scotland get better? What have we got coming through? How is it going to improve? Now, I'm really fortunate, and you are as well, that we work in England where there's an incredible amount of talent, whether that's actually on the pitch, players coming from overseas, or whether that's a lot of the young English boys who are coming through, the under-21s, under-18s. There's so many good young players coming through in England. It just feels in Scotland we just don't have that level of player or amount of players coming through. We brought on 1 or 2 last night, trying to introduce 1 or 2 later on in the game. But I think the bigger thing is we'll probably have about, 70% of the players who played last night going into the next tournament in a couple of years. And, hopefully we can try and find a way of adding to that. And certainly what we need to do is add more goals, more chances, etc. That was a big thing. We didn't make many opportunities, I don't think, in any of the games, really.
Yeah.
Dave, what's the defensively? I mean, I know I'm comparing as apples with oranges, but what's the difference between Ghana? I know they've got some top quality players in Partey and Semenya, but you've got some top quality players on your side as well in terms of McTominay and McGinn. What is the difference between the Ghanaians being able to be organised, structured and disciplined to shut out the English, whereas the Scots aren't? They implode, they create opportunities for the opposition, they make it easier for the opposition. What is the difference between being able to have a Ghanaian performance that shuts an English team out and a Scotland side that can't do it? What is the difference?
Well, Simon, the first thing I do think about that is I don't think there was a great deal of difference in organisation and planning, because Steve Clark and the people, because Alan Irvin's there, one of my members of staff, and I know the people there, they're good coaches and they would do that. I actually think that what we're missing is athleticism, a bit more stature, speed, which is a big thing which is missing, and I think it's actually missing a lot from Scottish culture generally. We don't have that level of athleticism which a lot of the African nations have, for example, and that would play a big part. I think we've lacked a little bit of speed at the back as well, and those things have actually played a part in where Scotland are at the moment. But we still have to go and hope that somehow the games go our way.
Yeah.
It sounded quite negative by what I heard and what I read after the game and the way back from the game last night. That they didn't sort of give much hope that we would qualify, and it is looking at the results and what's to come. It does look quite difficult for Scotland.
And specifically on that point, David, you've just made, we heard earlier, you probably heard it, Craig Burley and Steve Nicol, 2 former great Scottish players, talking on ESPN. And Craig Burley was suggesting, well, maybe, what do you want here? Do you want mediocrity to be rewarded? Is it maybe better that Scotland come home now? I mean, I'm not in that camp. I'm not sure you would be either.
No, definitely. We want to go at whoever we comes next. Whether it's whoever we get. Somebody was mentioning we might be Germany. Whoever it may be. I would think that we would want that opportunity. But I think Scotland will be disappointed, and we're disappointed as Scotsmen who don't think we've played particularly well. But I'm watching a few of the other teams, Cape Verde, watching some of the sides Haiti, for example. I don't think many of them have absolutely been turned over. There is the odd one, I say, but some of these teams at the moment are putting on some really good performances, challenging sides who are expected to be better. For example, I'm not saying Ghana against England, because Ghana are a good nation with good players as well. But I do think that some of the sides have actually surprised and done really well in the competition.
David, is there light at the end of the tunnel for Scotland at the 2 money ends of the pitch? The goalkeeping pipeline seems to be a little sparse, And the attacking options seem to be a bit sparse. Very good midfielders, but you can play poorly if you have a goal scorer and still get a result. You can also play poorly and have a tremendous goalkeeper and get results. And I'm not saying Angus Gunn's a poor goalkeeper, and Gordon's had a really good career, but I don't see a long list behind them. Are there others coming through?
No, Brad, you've got it, and you've nailed it. I actually think that Scotland have got a bundle of midfield players who are all known. Obviously, we miss Billy Gilmore as well, who would have given us a little bit more on the ball, and might have allowed Scotland to play slightly different at times. But I do think that our goalkeeping and our forward players have been the problem. Now, centre forwards are a problem for everybody. England are incredibly fortunate to have Harry Kane, for example, and we're seeing probably the top centre forwards really scoring the goals in the competition, which is great because it's the names which we talk about regular. But I do think that Scotland have had a problem going into the tournament. Jim will know, we all know about Scotland. We're not gifted with so many top players, and obviously the goalkeeping situation has been really difficult. Chris Woods has probably had a difficult situation trying to choose and find goalkeepers, and even going forward at the moment, which I tried to say a bit earlier there, was to say it's just not, there's just not loads and loads of people coming through, which for Scotland, it would be worth the discussion and the reason why maybe we're not producing as many great players as you mentioned earlier on in the show. And what we could do, I actually think what we should be trying to do going forward as Scotland is what we could try and do to improve it and make it better. For me, that would be a better argument or a better conversation.
Yeah. David, before you leave us, and I want to put this to you, it's often said that managers are put in a fairly invidious situation so soon after the final whistle of a game, being asked for their immediate thoughts in a kind of flash interview, nothing lengthy, but in a quick style interview. And Steve Clarke, certainly here, has come in for a bit of stick about the way he handled that flash interview last night, virtually brushing off the questions and moving on out. We might well be heading home. You've had your frustrations, no doubt, periodically with the media. Is it a difficult thing to do, or was he due to stand there? Should he have been due to stand there and give a bit more time and a bit more thought to that? Should he have fronted up more?
Yeah, look, Jim, this is something which I could talk for a long time about it because I'm involved with the LMA and we see the managers, and all the managers are put out very quickly after the games, incredibly emotional. Steve worked ever so hard, got to the competition, and then obviously he's been disappointed with the result when it's come at the end. And we're asked to sort of come out and answer questions and be eloquent in what we say and do everything correct and act correctly. I actually think sometimes you're better seeing how the managers really feel. I think Steve showed it. Yeah, I don't see it being a good thing walking away and walking out on it, but journalists have also got to ask difficult questions and ask the questions which people want to hear. But in the same breath, managers don't want to always answer them as well, because we're hurting. We know the people who it's going to affect as well. And I don't think Steve could have said an awful lot more than disappointed and not happy with the performance generally.
Yeah. What do you think? Yes or no, David? Does Scotland move on in this tournament?
Well, I was a bit disappointed hearing the boys talking about maybe not making it last night, but hopefully we've got to hope that something goes our way. But look, I agree with a lot of things that were said there a bit earlier, Jim, to say that, in some ways we've not done enough to earn to get through to the next round. But I'm still hoping that maybe there's a chance that something can happen.
Okay, David, thank you so much again for joining us live in the show. Everton boss, of course, a proud Scot, as I said, David Moyes, with us live in the show this morning. Stay with us. We're live in New York.
had a lot of messages from folk back home saying that was a very Gareth Southgate-like England performance, and I understand the sentiment, and I do think Thomas Tuchel should take a little bit of criticism, Simon, for not reacting earlier. He could have hooked both wide players for me at half-time. I thought Madueke was poor. I don't understand what people see in Anthony Gordon. I can't believe that Barcelona have paid the money they have for him. Yeah. And it was only really when Saka and Rashford in particular came on that England carried any kind of attacking threat.
But it's interesting because people make a song and dance about Rashford. And when he starts for England, he very rarely sets the place alight. It's interesting that he switched. What I watched him do was switch Madueke to bench side, because he obviously wanted to have a conversation with him during the course of the game. Rather than sub him, he put Saka on, and he put Madueke onto the left and attempted to drive him on. Ironically, some of the best moments came from Madueke. I think he's a speedboat without a brain, but the other people, including the England manager, think he's better than that. So there's obviously a situation where there's an expectation. Rashford comes into this conversation every time. And how many times has Rashford started for England? And we can look back and go, what a performance that was. Rashford's an impact player. There's a reason why Barcelona haven't signed him. There's a reason why he got marginalised at Manchester United and his form was so poor. And some of it's his attitude. So you can't just turn around and say, well, Rashford is a solution.
But should he have not been able to make an impact earlier, Simon? That's my point.
Possibly, but I don't think it was a Southgate-like performance. I think there was elements of the game that people can draw a parallel with, but England's attitude towards the game was not to try and survive it and accept a point. He threw so many attacking players on to try and achieve an account. That's nothing like Southgate. At the end, the reasons why the Ghanaians got a couple of chances at the end, and you're not going to go through a whole game without some jeopardy, was that England's midfield was reduced to actually offensive only. We took off anything that was vaguely resembling defensive, pushed out Declan Rice even further up, and threw on every single conceivable attacker that we could possibly...
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com. The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com for all the latest odds and offers. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
All right, here in New York, it's time to look ahead to the day with talkSPORT Bet and their ambassador, Ryan Douglas, who's with us here in studio this morning. Brad Friedel just adjusting the talkSPORT Bet jacket there, which was a very nice touch.
The walking billboard is back.
Lovely. That was nice of you. In a word, Ryan, Scotland, where are you going with it?
I've never felt more owned, by the way, wearing a jacket and merchandise, but here we are. It's better than a cap. Yes, Scotland. Scotland. Gosh, I know, we were watching it, weren't we? And I had to look across at your face every time a goal went in, Jim. It wasn't good viewing. It wasn't a pretty sight, I'm sorry to say. But
my face. yeah.
Scotland qualification. Let's talk about how it relates to the odds and how it relates to betting as well. There was a point where you just needed Germany and a Spain and an Egypt win, which would have been 23-5. But as of right now, allow me to be pedantic and how it relates to the betting. Ecuador can't get anything against Germany, but the Germans are favourites. Curacao can't beat Ivory Coast, and Ivory Coast are favourites. Egypt need to beat Iran. Egypt are favourites, so this is all looking good for you so far. Spain need to beat Uruguay. Spain are favourites, so that looks good for you as well. And ideally, Austria need to beat Algeria, and Austria are favourites. But this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, where Cape Verde can't get anything against Saudi Arabia. They just can't, but they're the favourites to beat Saudi Arabia. And Congo can't beat Uzbekistan, but Congo are favourites to beat Uzbekistan. So here it is. talkSPORT Bet have Scotland to qualify at 12-5 right now. It's 12-5.
12-5.
12-5, as he writes that down, yes. And as Simon said, though, I mean, you've been obviously talking about it all morning. There was results you expected to go that way. I mean, you didn't expect to beat Brazil, you know. So, I mean, it's important not to go overboard here. But if, I'll throw it to you, Brad. If Scotland do qualify and do get to knockouts, what does Steve Clarke have to... How does he approach the knockouts differently, or does he approach it differently?
Well, it depends who they play. But if permutations go, they could be playing Mexico, correct? And they're going to go to altitude. But Scotland can beat Mexico.
Yeah.
The big advantage for Mexico is the altitude. If they played them at sea level in neutral ground, I think Scotland has probably better players than Mexico does. At altitude, Mexico's a tough opposition, but they could beat them. But just be free-flowing. And maybe, as we spoke about it earlier, maybe the mentality will be completely different, and players will be a lot more calm and free-flowing and going forward and have a go at it. If you go to Estadio Azteca and defend, you'll lose, because you just run out. You'll be chasing.
Is there a
shadows.
chance, Brad, we could ask FIFA if Scotland could play Mexico at a lower altitude? Now that would help immensely.
Well, I'm sure you could send
all
the
right
text.
to ask that one.
I'm sure you could send the message. I'm not sure you'd get a response.
Simon, that's almost the ridiculous nature of it all. I mean, Ryan's gone through the permutations. We need that. We need this. We need that. But kind of, I hope to God it happens.
But it probably was always going to be thus.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, the difference is a goal either way. Maybe one more goal against Haiti and one less goal against Brazil, and all of a sudden you've got a different conversation. It was always going to be thus. What would be curious, and may be a question we never get answered, and I hope we do get this question answered, because I'm putting my best earnest face on this morning to give as much as I can support for Scotland whilst I'm really deep inside bursting with laughter. I'm keen to see Scotland get through, because I want to see Steve Clarke either face the real fire of playing opposition that isn't Brazil and Morocco and more of a level towards Scotland, and B, in a knockout game where you can have no explanation for not having a go at the opposition, no explanation for trying to see a game out.
I agree.
Then we can all judge Steve Clarke, and we can all turn around and say, you are a negative manager. You don't try and have a go at the opposition.
Yeah.
But at this moment in time, when you're trying to manage your way through a tournament, manage your way through a group stage, like the Ghanaians did against England, you're navigating the landscape to get yourself through a qualifying situation. When you're playing a knockout game, it's all or nothing. It's S or bust, right? So in that situation, you want to see what Steve Clarke's got. And I actually do want to see that, and then see what the criticism or praise will be.
I'm pleased about that. 12-5 then at the moment,
12-5, right? And I think the World Cup, they want Scotland out here, don't they? Everywhere Scotland are
Boston
going.
wants them back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Their bars do. Yeah,
I think they're in no, the whole city's in depression. That they left.
Yeah. So let's hope they do.
Ryan, prohibition's back.
Fingers crossed. That was a brief look at the latest odds. Thanks to Ryan and Scott. talkSPORT Bet 18+. GambleAware.org.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com to see all our latest sign-up offers. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Very, very disappointed. I know it can happen, and you know, if you're an England fan, you're used to this disappointment at every tournament at some stage. But I've got to tell you, mate, I'm going after one person. I'll tell you that person is in
Who
a
is
second.
it? I want to know.
Going after Tuchel, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah. I thought his team selection was wrong. I thought he changed it way too late. His changes, I thought, were too similar. I think you've got to mix it up. And I've seen Thomas Tuchel's teams, and I've seen him change game. We saw that against Croatia, against a low block like Ghana. I just want to give them some credit, by the way, because they deserve a huge amount of credit because of the way they played. But come on, Is that it? Is that the best that we've got going forward in a low block like that? And I sat there, and we sat there and watched it. And I said to you, I'd keep the same team at half-time. And at 49 minutes and something like 48 seconds, I said to you, Joe, I've seen enough.
Seen enough.
I wanted to see something, and there was no urgency. And he left it until I've got the subs here.
Well, it was hydration break, wasn't it? Around that.
He made his first sub on 65, and I said to you in the break, I think he'll leave it somewhere about 60. After 50 minutes, I'm going, nope. If they've not listened to you, we're seeing the same old tripe.
Mm-hmm.
Talk Sport.
1 minute past 2. Good afternoon. Steve Clarke's received his fair share of criticism for walking away 2 questions into his post-match interview after that Brazil game. Simon Jordan says despite the emotions, he should have done better.
You've got to balance it. You're a professional football manager that, irrespective of the outcomes, is paid very handsomely to be here. The fans have paid very handsomely to come and watch it. I guess you've got to stomach it and give the answers that people want to hear, if indeed people want to hear it.
So is Clarke's tactical conservatism a key reason for Scotland's shortcomings? Brad Friedel says no, it was much more about individual errors.
The first goal in Morocco, Hendry knew how to defend that situation better, and he didn't. Individual mistake. McKinnon knows how to get a ball out of his feet and pass the ball. Those mistakes are not so much on Steve Clarke or tactics or anything of that nature.
Despite shortcomings in quality, why couldn't Scotland show the discipline, the fight and the attrition that Ghana showed against England? David Moyes says it's not because the team were poorly organised.
I actually think what we're missing is athleticism, a bit more stature, speed, which is a big thing which is missing, and I think it's actually missing a lot from Scottish culture generally. We don't have that level of athleticism which a lot of the African nations have, for example.
So with 18 group games still to play, Supercomputer says Scotland have about a 30% chance of progressing. Read a full breakdown of the permutations at talksport.com. There you can also find a full list of next season's EFL fixtures. Relegated Burnley will host West Ham on the opening weekend of the Championship season on Sunday the 16th of August. And at Trent Bridge, the ice creams are out in the baking sunshine while New Zealand's opening batters feast at the crease. Sam Ellard.
This has an ominous feel about it at the moment for England. New Zealand winning the toss and batting in the series to side of the wickets. An absolute belter. The sun is shining, it's scorching hot, and the New Zealand openers are cashing in. After lunch, 132 without loss. Both openers past 50. Devon Conway's got 65. Tom Latham's got 62. The pitch offering England absolutely no assistance whatsoever. Atkinson and Tongue after lunch for England, desperately searching for this breakthrough. New Zealand are cruising at 132 without loss.
And some breaking news. Arsenal have signed Piero Nkapie on a permanent deal for £34.5 million. The cricket, you can listen to full live commentary if you're an overseas listener on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
More than 10,000 people are missing and 164 people have died after back-to-back earthquakes in Venezuela, and oil prices have fallen back to pre-Iran war levels. Amelia's back at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heat wave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
Reminder that breaking news. Arsenal have signed Piero Nkapie for £34.5 million, making that loan deal permanent. The weather 30 degrees and above across England. Cooler in Scotland with heavy rain in the far north.
Hi everybody from New York. It is 4 minutes past 9 in the morning here in this fantastic city. Sun is up and it's going to be another nice day. 4 minutes past 2 o'clock in the afternoon with you back in the UK. And you lot back there, we understand, are sweltering. We wish you well. We hope all is good. Wherever you are listening, all around the UK, all around the USA And my God, the reaction out here has been quite incredible to what we do on talkSPORT. Simon and I literally getting stopped in the street with people saying they watch the clips from the show as well as listen to it. And that is great news as far as we are concerned. Someone else who's played a blinder for talkSPORT throughout this World Cup campaign is Brad Friedel, 82 times cap for the USA. Brad in studio with Simon and myself this morning here in New York. Guys, before we go any further, I just want to talk one individual specifically, and that individual, Simon, Brad, is Craig Bellamy. We understood in the last few days over here in the US, and we kept a close watch on it, that Wales manager, Craig Bellamy, was edging closer to leaving the Welsh and was going to take over at now Championship club Burnley. Bellamy, we were told, was talking to the Championship club and that a decision would be made soon. And that came off the back of Craig Bellamy telling us not that long ago that no, he was totally committed to the Welsh.
Everything's in place. I get completely backed, and it's going to give me the opportunity of hopefully in the next 2 years to improve again. And then the situation after that, then we'll see. But yeah, links now, I don't know, I understand it, but I don't look too far into it, Gareth. That's the honest truth. It's, I love what I have here. You know, Wales give me this opportunity. When one or two might not have. Because I was conscious, you know, I haven't managed before. The word temperament gets used a lot. What's he going to be like? Is he going to explode? Is it going to? And I understand a lot of it. But Wales have given me this opportunity. And I'm really grateful for that. And I am ambitious, trust me. This is not me. I'm ambitious. I want to earn loads and loads of money. But there's a time. And now at this present moment, it just doesn't feel that time.
So that was Craig Bellamy just last month. And as I explained earlier, thereafter, all sorts of speculation that Bellamy was edging closer to leaving Wales for Burnley. Now in New York this morning, we understand at talkSPORT, Bellamy's move to Burnley is in doubt. We understand there are issues regarding backroom staff. As of this morning, though, and this muddies the water even more, Simon and Brad, as of this morning, the Football Association of Wales fully expecting him to leave, and they're planning for his successor with at least two candidates already approached. Where is this going, Simon?
Well, my nose at the time, which is rather large and often in other people's businesses, told me that I felt that Craig would stay with Wales because in that interview, you have all the ingredients. Some of it's slightly unsophisticated, but you like him for that because it's not media managed. He speaks what he thinks. But very rarely do you hear a football manager suggest that he has a debt and understands that the opportunity was his, given to him by people that were backing him and supportive of him and took a punt with him. And he might have repaid an element of it, but he wants to acknowledge that existence of the opportunity that was facilitated for him. So when I heard that interview, it made you smile. It restored your faith in humanity, certainly in football managers' humanity, with integrity and decency and loyalty and respecting the opportunity. I don't know whether his people are being very clever and mixing up the opportunity to stay with Wales, but on better commercial terms by batting their eyelids at Burnley and using it as a commercial discussion. But when you have an interview like that, it makes it very difficult to take someone particularly seriously when 2 months later, they're potentially considering going to a club that they've got a link with. I mean, we all know that he's got a link there, and of course he'll feel the same way about Burnley as he might feel about Wales because they took a chance with him as a coach. There was some adverse publicity about Craig. I like Craig. There was some adverse publicity back in the day about some of Craig's handling of younger players and so on and so forth. I personally think people have got to be more resilient in society and people have got to be told the truth every now and again rather than shy away from it. But I would be disappointed to see Craig reverse out of a position which seems to be beset with integrity and take the very thing that he said that he didn't need to have at this moment in time, which was opportunity for money and outcomes. Because if he continues to be successful at Wales, then there'll be no shortage of people courting him. So maybe it is, in my hopeful mind, a commercial negotiation being played out by his team.
It's hard to see, Brad, isn't it? And now reported issues with backroom staff about the Burnley job.
Well, I played with Craig. There's two things here. Craig, when he signs the contract, he's all in. He's all in. Yeah. Like whether that's with Burnley, whether that's with Wales, he's that type of character. I mean, he doesn't get spoken about a lot on his playing days. He was one of the best strikers I played with at Blackburn. I played with Dwight York, and Andy Cole, and Roca Santa Cruz, Matt Jansen before his car crash or his motorbike accident, et cetera, et cetera. There was a lot of top quality there, and Bellers was one of them. But what most managers that go into a game, this is why it was so interesting to see what Kieran McKenna did, is you want to keep going up the ladder and up the ladder and up the ladder. And he probably would or will take the Burnley job if everything's correct. And the best time to look for the job or get the job is when you have a job. Now, the Welsh Federation might not think so, and they might not be happy with that. But Craig he's the type of kid or the type of guy that it's like hard on his sleeve. And he will tell you as it is, by the way. He'll tell his teammates, he'll tell staff, he'll tell everybody. And so...
But how do you reconcile? And I hear all that.
No, you don't. You have to take the criticism. You don't reconcile it.
You reconcile the observations of deep-seated gratitude and appreciation and integrity to a 180-degree reverse out of that position. Actually, I'm not grateful for the opportunity. This one's better.
Well, I think he's still grateful for the opportunity, but he probably knows the other one is better. And he's just going to have to deal with the criticism.
Right. Yeah. Well, on that, as we head to a break, I'll ask both of you, what would serve Craig Bellamy's management development better at this stage in his career?
Well, I always say, and I said this, and it's a comparison, it might not be as prevalent as you think it is, but to young players, I said it to John Bostock, I said it to Wayne Routledge, if you're going to be a player, learn your trade at this club where you're going to get opportunities, and the big boys will come. You'll not be a secret, you'll have your opportunity. If you're going to be a manager, learn your trade maybe, and you get an opportunity to do it with Wales, and then there'll be no secret. So I'm sort of say back yourself. If you're good enough, then keep on developing with the Welsh national team where there's less emphasis. He goes into Burnley, right? Burnley's expectation is to get promoted. He goes into Burnley, like we've just seen with matey boy over at Wolves, right? Rob Edwards. 5 months down the road, you aren't pulling up trees. You're gone.
Right.
And your management career is back where it started.
And with Wales, there's a home Euros in a couple of years.
The only person who knows what's best for his development as a coach is him himself, not us.
Yeah, but I disagree with that.
Well, we're on the outside looking at it. Like, we don't know. The Welsh Federation I'm just putting a hypothetical.
Yeah, they might be.
They may be pulling stuff back,
That's true.
and we don't know that. And because he respects the Welsh FA, he doesn't want to air their dirty laundry. We just don't know all.
But that's not. See, the point is, and I understand his point of view, but that's not true, because if people sit down and tell people the truth about whether they're a certain physical condition or whether they're a certain manager that's making choices based upon the here and now, because we can all run to the money. Everyone in life gets opportunities. The ones that are successful are the ones that take the right opportunities. So when you look at situations, people need to be told, well, look at the caveats, look at the circumstances here, look at the risk profile. All back yourself, be brave, but be prepared for the consequences. And so many times people make decisions because they think the here and now, the grass is greener, and no one's there to say, because most people are profiting off them. Most of the time the agents are sitting there with their hands out getting paid for that opportunity, rather than saying, oh, easy cowboy, ease back on the reins, have a thought about where this leads to and what could... And that's not being brave, because you've got to take decisions in life, you've got to be bold, but you've got to take the right one. So it's not a case of he is the person that best knows for his coaching career. Sometimes you make stupid decisions because there's an opportunity to get paid very well for it.
But he's the type of fella that will take full responsibility for the consequences. He won't mind the flack, he won't mind the criticism, he'll just deal with it.
Oh, in 2 years' time, when he hasn't got a job and there's no one giving him interviews, he'll be a manager saying, well, why is nobody giving me interviews?
We'll keep across it.
No, he'll know why.
Because
he won't say, he won't ask why. He'll know why. That's the difference.
Maybe.
One moment it seems to be happy at Wales, next moment talking to Burnley, and now maybe not happening at Burnley, but maybe not staying at Wales at the same time, because the Welsh are looking elsewhere, it would seem. We'll get to the bottom of it. It's as clear as mud at the moment. We're live on talkSPORT from the 50th floor of the World Trade Center. And we're coming to you live in partnership with Toolstation. Fast Track delivers to you from 30 minutes. First stop, Toolstation.
This is where everyone gets him wrong. The thing about Cristiano is it's incredible to me, and I feel it as a great honour that I have become a good friend of him. I love the guy. He's a great guy. We talk all the time. But you know, it's a weird thing for me. We became friends because he liked my crime documentary that I did for ITV. Yeah. That's how he messaged me out of the blue, and that was how it started. But we become good friends. And the thing about Ronaldo, I just find incredible. He still gets unbelievably emotional when he scores a goal or wins a game or loses a game or misses a penalty, whatever it may be. To do that at 41 when you're a billionaire, and you've done everything in the game, it shows you that all that matters to him is football.
It shows you that you're playing against Uzbekistan. In the last Euros 2024, he didn't score one goal.
So
I thought we lost you there. You went really quiet for a minute, Piers. What happened there?
Oh, I didn't get really quiet. I
thought the line dropped.
Harry Kane had a poor game last night. Why aren't you pelting him like you would Ronaldo?
Well, no, we're just talking about Ronaldo. I'm not talking about Harry Kane.
No, of course you're not. You're not talking about Harry Kane because you like Harry Kane.
Why are you picking on Harry Kane? Why are you picking on Harry Kane? I thought you were English.
Because I think he had a poor game last night, the whole team. But where's the great inquest into, has Harry Kane lost it? Is he a has-been? Is he? No one's going to have that conversation because his goal records shows that he is a brilliant striker.
Not the Euros.
Ronaldo's goal record under Martinez that you've just said.
None.
That goal record under Martinez is unbelievable.
Do you think
we should be lauding him as the best finisher in the world?
Piers. Qualifies. Put him in a big tournament.
After he scored that
He's
goal,
in a big tournament. He just scored 2 goals.
Piers,
what are you talking about, man?
After he scored that first goal to the cameras, he says, "I'm back.
Yeah.
People haven't liked that because they say Messi would never do that.
Oh, so what? I love the fact that Ronaldo makes his critics eat crow every single time. Right? The whole of social media for 4 days was reveling in the downfall of Cristiano. Let's be honest, they were. Yeah. Everyone was willing him to fail. They wanted him to be
Piers,
humiliated.
let me ask you that. England-Portugal final of the World Cup goes to pens and Ronaldo scores the winner. Do you celebrate? Do you fist pump?
No, because I want England to win the World.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
Yeah, time now for Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. And one of the standout games later on, 9 o'clock UK time, Ecuador up against Germany. I know the kind of result, Brad, that would do Scotland a favour, and that is if the Germans do a job on Ecuador, and that would sideline them as Scotland hope to carry on in this tournament. But Brad, what kind of game do you think we might see in this one? Ecuador, Germany, what are you thinking?
Well, it's an unknown because Germany's obligation is not to get a favourable result for Scotland. Germany's obligation is to make sure that they have players rested and fit for their knockout round. So I could envision them resting a lot of players. Their squad is very good, so anybody that puts on a German shirt should be able to to beat most teams, but Ecuador is a good team. They are underperforming right now in this tournament, but they have some quality players. So I could see this result going in three ways: a win, loss, or a draw. I think it's one of those games that's very nerve-wracking for the Scottish fans, Scottish players, Scottish staff to be watching.
Yeah.
So let's hope that the Germans can help the Scots out in the same way that the Scots observe on us having a German manager helping the English out. Just saying.
He was waiting to get that in. It's live in talkSPORT later today, 9 o'clock your time back in the UK. Ecuador against Germany. And you can watch the games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find out your nearest at villagehotels.com. Plus, for a chance to win a Village Hotel VIP experience for the World Cup final at a Village Hotel near you, head to talksport.com/competitions.
talkSPORT Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
9:20 here in New York City. 2:20 with you back in the UK. Here's one for Brad and Simon. Tomorrow, Egypt face Iran in what ironically is being designated the World Cup Pride match. Now, it was announced before the draw that June the 26th, tomorrow, in Seattle, this was to be the Pride match coinciding with Seattle's Pride weekend. In an ironic twist, the draw saw the fixture turn out to be Egypt against Iran, two countries in which homosexuality is outlawed. Now, the Egyptian FA moved swiftly once they heard this, and they wrote to FIFA before the tournament outlining their, quote, absolute rejection of any activities linked to LGBTQ plus support during this match. Now, it is thought that despite both nations' opposition, Egypt's and Iran's, FIFA will not stop rainbow flags in support of the LGBTQ plus community being allowed inside the stadium. So there's a bit of a problem on the horizon, possibly, as this match comes up. Simon, how does FIFA find the balance between respecting culture and respecting inclusivity?
Well, we have inclusivity, and I don't really understand why there's necessity under the law. Put aside the Egyptians and the Iranians and their particular vantage point on these issues, and look at the Western world and where we live, in America, in the US, and in the UK and whatever else. Everyone is equal under the law, and I'm not entirely sure. You know, I get tired of this necessity to have these gay pride months and so on and so forth. I have no issue with homosexuality in any shape or form. People are people, and who people choose to sleep with, quite frankly, is their business. And why we have to have, metaphorically, I know it's not, it forced down our throats every single opportunity that's available, I don't understand. Why there is a necessity, you're going to a football match, why is there a necessity to wave LGBTQ plus progressive flags at everybody? I don't understand. I have an issue, even in my own life, with my son, 6 years old, going into school with teachers putting progressive LGBTQ badges on the side of doors. What's that got to do with the education of a 5-year-old child? So my view is, on one argument, you talk about not having the necessity to have politics involved in sport, but you do want to have culture wars. You do want to have a circumstance where people are accepted and people are embraced and society understands there is differences in the way that people choose their lives.
Right.
But no one else has to have a particular month. I know that Stonewall had to fight battles in the 1960s, and we had to have all of these things overcome and challenges embraced and move forward. But we are now in a situation where we're equal under the law. This LGBTQ plus movement is in certain parts quite sinister in its desires and its ideologies and some of the things it's trying to enforce over society. So I look at this and say, this is a football match.
Yeah, and you're saying that FIFA shouldn't allow the flying of rainbow flags tomorrow?
Absolutely.
I mean, Brad, you and I were talking about the significance of the city being Seattle, but unlike Egypt and Iran, do you have no problem with this?
Well, there's two camps. So one is the players. So if you're a player from a nation where homosexuality is outlawed or you don't believe in it, then the rainbow flag should be meaningless to you. You shouldn't even know what it means. So who cares? You turn up to the stadium, you focus on playing, and you play. Somebody waving a flag should have no meaning towards you whatsoever. On the second part of this, so Qatar had a World Cup, and a lot of people had to adhere to their culture. No problem. When you go to somebody else's country and they have events and they have displays, whether you agree with them or not, you go to somebody else's country
and culture,
and this is what happened in the United States, especially in the West. If you go to Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, this has big meaning there. I mean, if you don't believe in it or don't like it, then don't watch it. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, what is the waving of a rainbow flag going to do to your life?
No, and that's a fair reasonable argument, isn't it? But it's about what you're utilising sport for. We are, in essence, what has it got to do with sport? We have a sport and we have a society that's inclusive and diverse in its thought process. And the only time people get resistant to it is when they're constantly bombarded by it and being confronted by it and having to adhere to it. I don't understand the necessity to walk around London every month and celebrate gay pride. What have I got to do that for? Do I have a month celebrating heterosexual pride?
You don't have to. You've got the choice, Sam.
No, but we are bombarded.
Everybody's got the choice.
But I tell you what, you are very quickly judged if you have a resistance to it. If you dare speak up against it, all these so-called balanced individuals that want diversity and inclusion all of a sudden have an issue with your so-called bigotry. Now, there were players. Now, I hear the argument that Brad is making, but we've also seen it creep into the game where players were being forced or suggested that there was a real challenge if they didn't wear rainbow armbands. Now, in this instance, this is not the case.
That's not the case here.
This is not the case.
It's about supporters.
But I don't like at any instance sport being leveraged to advance any particular cause, because which cause is more worthy than another? At which point do you have sport, you have issue?
Well, we've been through this before, haven't we? The poppy, maybe.
Well, we can debate that one too, and I don't think there should be poppies on shirts. I think it's a different celebration because it includes everybody in the equation. It was a liberation of the West, right, from a marauding fascism.
I mean, Brad, do you think this game comes and goes tomorrow with very little lip service paid to the rainbow flag?
Absolutely, just like all the preamble to the World Cup that it was going to be horrendous and the Americans weren't going to welcome people from all over the place. I mean, I've been in Boston for every game, and I've seen Iraqis party with the Scots. I've seen the Scots party with everybody, but I've seen the Norwegians party with the with. I mean, it's been incredible. You go to the other cities, so I do think it's going to come and go.
Why do you need to go into a football stadium and wave flags about anything other than a sport?
But why shouldn't you be allowed to?
But you're going to watch football, not wave a flag.
It's not an offensive flag. FIFA are saying fans of all sexual orientations and gender identities are welcome at matches and events. Everyone's welcome. Inclusivity.
Yes, wonderful. Let's disappear down the rabbit hole of gender ideology that has been so challenging in society, that has actually had to have a government.
But if you want to take it that way, then take it that way.
The next time you want to walk into a changing room with your young daughter and see a grown man in a dress changing because gender ideology has been embraced by people, we can have that conversation. But as far as is
that not a bit extreme?
Well, I think you have I think you have to look at the extremes, because the media likes to gravitate towards the extremes. We are in this space, so I look at it and say, sport is for sport. And what are we going to get to? Calls, and a side order of sport. Go watch a football match. Go watch a football match where you're enjoying the experience.
But sport can help a lot of things too. So
it's not his job. It's not his job. It's not his job.
It is a little bit, because when you sign your contract, you're also a role model, and nobody ever told.
No, you're not.
Yet you're forced to be a role model.
No, you're not.
You absolutely are.
You're not.
And so the Kick Racism Out of Football campaign, for instance. Racism starts, in my opinion, at the individual's houses, and it's in their life.
But it's not his responsibility. It's not its obligation.
But we can help.
Sport, yes, absolutely. I hear that.
Right.
But we can help.
We can help humanity.
We can go down an endless road. We can go down. I can give you a list as long as the Magna Carta of viable causes and wonderful causes that could be helped by sport. But there is an essence of, we can all look out the window and go, what a miserable, difficult world it is. Let's find some respite from these issues. Let's find some respite of what's happening in Ukraine. Let's find some respite from what's happening in Gaza. Let's find some respite from the respite. If I want to see that, I can turn on CNN. What I actually want to do is go to watch football for its very purpose. Half of the players don't have a clue about these causes. They get dragged into situations where they're asked to make observations about things that they have no
But this isn't the players, Simon. This is the fans tomorrow in some areas of the ground in Seattle waving rainbow flags.
And we saw this.
And that's it. And before we know where we're at, we're at full time, and Egypt might have beaten Iran, or Iran might have beaten Egypt.
I hear you. And we had at the German Euros, the Germans deciding that because they didn't like the Hungarians' policy, they wanted to beam LGBT colours over the Alliance Stadium. So talk to me about where this ends up in terms of political debates, culture situations. My belief is that whilst sport can be a force for good, it should be a force for good in inspiring young people to want to participate in sport.
I get that. There's a message, Simon. You talk about woke culture, and yet you're offended by a flag.
I'm not offended. I'm saying I'm not offended. I didn't say I was offended. I said it's not a necessity. I'm irritated by the necessity to march.
But you're not offended by it.
I'm not offended by it because, you know, offence is something you take, not someone gives you.
You have an issue with it?
I think it's unnecessary. I am concerned about where this stuff goes, and people should be concerned when you start seeing what's happening in society, when you start seeing deeply concerned.
We'll see what happens tomorrow. It is designated the World Cup Pride match, and quite ironically, it involves Egypt and Iran. 2:30 with you back in the UK. It is 9:30 here in New York City.
You would have played with Rashford and against him, Jack. Why isn't he starting? Why is he getting brought on 83rd minute? Because I like Gordon, but Rashford is in a different league for me.
Yeah, I think with wingers, right? Wingers I always think is such a difficult position because one game you can be the best player, and then another game it don't quite work out for you. You miss 1v1, you lose the ball a couple of times because they take so many risks. You want your wingers to take risks. And I feel like I agree with you, Gabby. I feel like Rashford has spent a year at Barcelona where, you know, their wingers over the years and the way they coach them and the detail they give them, like they're top level. And I think he's had a top season. I think, he's probably one we might see in the next game. I think 83rd minute was probably too late for him. Like, again, someone who dribbles, he gets at players. Anthony Gordon can do that, but I feel like if you can see that it's not working, like, change the wingers. That's one thing that you can do, and it's relatively risk-free in terms of like avoiding transition and stuff, and probably waited too long for that.
Jack, what type of England fan are you? Having played, of course, at the highest level for England, when you watch us at major tournaments, are you like me and most fans where 1 minute you think we're going to win the World Cup and the next you think the manager should get the sack?
No. You know what? I'll be honest. Gareth Southgate left me out of 2018. So when he was in charge, of course I wanted England to win, but there was always that little bit of anger in me. So this is actually probably the first one where I'm like a proper fan. And no, I think, you know, I was talking to someone last night and they were asking me who do you think's favourites, and I don't think, like, right now, like, it doesn't really matter who's doing well, who's not doing well. You know, I think Argentina lost their first game when they won it last time.
When you think about some of the stadiums that have hosted games in the World Cup, sometimes it's hard not to be completely overawed. But what's the biggest? One thing we have to be clear about is that older stadiums will have had higher capacities when it was standing only. A good example of this is the old Wembley. For the final in '66, the capacity was 125,000. But that was later reduced to 100 when it was converted into an all-seater in 1990. Another example is this, Mexico City's Estadio Azteca. Back in '86, it's estimated around 115,000 people watched Argentina beat West Germany to win their second World Cup. Essential modernisation so it could be used in the 2026 tournament reduced it to 83,000. You can't talk about old stadiums with high capacities without mentioning Brazil's Maracanã. Some say the jewel in football's crown. In the 2014 World Cup, its capacity stood at just under 79,000. But back in 1950, well, it wasn't official, but estimates believe 210,000 people came to this place for a winner-takes-all match between Brazil and Uruguay. That's still the world record attendance for a live football match, and let's be honest, it's not likely to be beaten anytime soon.
Football form roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. The world's gone football. Get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
OK, here in New York City, just gone 9:30 in the morning. Time to catch up with the odds thanks to Sky Bet. And we're now joined by Michael Shinners from Sky Bet to look at today's football and discuss the latest odds round and about them. So only one place to start, isn't there? Scotland faltering, I'm afraid. Michael, where are you at with the general picture with Scotland?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a struggle, Jim. I'm afraid to tell you. 11-4 now to qualify, obviously on the back of the performance yesterday, and 2-7 not to qualify. They're basically, the prices have flip-flopped. Relying on other teams now, it's still doable, it's still possible, but yeah, it was I think it was just unfortunate to concede so early in the game. Really put them on the back foot, and if you still have the hope, it's 11-4 that they're still going to qualify and results go their way.
OK. We still have the hope, Brad. Quite rightly.
You hope.
I hope.
No, I hope.
Keep hope alive.
I do hope they go through. It just, there's a lot that has to happen.
There's a lot that has to happen. One match later, incidentally, 6 live commentaries across the talkSPORT network later tonight. But Curaçao, Ivory Coast, what's your thinking there?
Yeah, Curaçao, they would be the smallest nation ever to qualify for the knockout stages if they beat the Ivory Coast. The price suggests it's going to be a struggle. They're 15-1 to win the game, 15-2 the draw, which obviously wouldn't be enough, and then it's 1-7 Ivory Coast. But I mean, it'd be a fantastic story if they could go through. But 15-1 if you fancy Curaçao to cause a massive shock and get through to the last 32.
OK, what are you going to tell me about Germany?
Yeah, one of the only teams who could go 3 from 3, and they're 1-2 to beat Ecuador, who are notoriously hard to score against. I think they've only conceded 1 goal and conceded. They were involved in 9 games that were 0-0 draws in the 18 qualifiers. So you wouldn't ordinarily expect goals, but what you could expect is Germany to have plenty of shots. And if you fancy that, we're price boosting Germany to have the most shots on target in each half, and that's 2-1 for Germany to have the most shots on target in the game.
OK, Michael, finish off for me. Group F.
Yeah, obviously, really interesting one. Japan, Sweden and Netherlands all going for to try and top the group. This has kind of been the group of goals, Jim, over 20 goals in the group. So we've got there's just a little bit of an interesting double. Japan and Sweden to score over 3.5 goals is 21-10. Tunisia and Netherlands, it's 5-6 for again over 3.5 goals. So if you fancied both those, 9-2 for essentially plenty of goals in the game.
Michael, thank you very much indeed. That was a look at the latest odds thanks to Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Football form roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. Download the Sky Bet app and get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Remember, we're on the 50th floor of the World Trade Center. Another beautiful day here in New York. Very shortly, we're going to be joined by a very special guest. We're going to talk boxing. I'll get to that in a second. In the meantime, let's get to the cricket, because it's England-New Zealand. It's the third test, and here's Sam.
Yeah, the series decided, Jim, 1-1 going into this third test match. New Zealand winning the toss and batting first. They are making the most of glorious conditions at Trent Bridge. A really good deck to bat on and glorious overhead conditions. New Zealand cruising at 157 without loss. There was a couple of early chances for England. Archer bowling to Latham, full ball outside the off stump, looking to drive through the offside. Took the outside edge, went past second slip. Harry Brook diving to his left-hand side. Then Bashir bowling to Conway. Conway loosely driving on the up, nearly picked out Joe Root at cover. Apart from those two half chances for England early on day one, it has been all New Zealand. Both opening bats have passed 50. Latham's got 76. Conway's got 71. And England looking really short of ideas here on how to try and break this opening partnership. There was an LBW appeal a short while ago. A full ball from Josh Tongue, angling it into left-handed bat. It was going down the leg side though. But these two guys continue to pile on the runs. New Zealand in a really healthy position at 157 without loss.
Thank you very much indeed. Sam, watching the cricket, we have Terry in Sheffield, who in a very eagle-eyed fashion is watching our output on YouTube and is asking me, Jim, is that the window cleaners behind you again outside the World Trade Centre? It is, dangling off the ropes there that you can see behind me. I think they're cleaning the windows on the 42nd floor today. Can you believe that? What a job. You're listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan along with Brad Friedel. Almost said Brad Pitt. We're live in talkSPORT in partnership with Tool Station.
It's just the look, right?
His older brother, Seth, yeah.
Yeah,
the look and the hair.
Brad Friedel's better looking.
Thank you.
Much better looking is our Brad. When we come back, another very good-looking man, because Eddie Hearn is going to be joining us, top boxing promoter and matchroom chairman. We're going to be looking ahead to the big fight here in Brooklyn this weekend. But remember, Tool Station, Fast Track delivers to you from 30 minutes. First stop, Tool Station.
Hi, Reece.
How you doing, Andrew? How you doing, Darren? You well?
Yeah.
Good, man, you?
You sound tired.
Oh, do you know what? I am very tired. I work in. I'm a director of fun in a place called the Post-mortem Tavern. Now we've had a lot of fun trying to support the Tartan Army and try to support Scotland, but last night's just embarrassing. You can't support Steve Clarke anymore. I think it's absolutely embarrassing how the fact he even got a 4-year contract before we even went there. It's an embarrassment to Scotland. And do you know what? And I hope you would agree with us. I think we're the laughing stock of Britain right now.
Do you know, listen, I wouldn't say you're the laughing stock of Britain, but let me ask you, Reece, because I understand the last two performances haven't been great, but realistically, in this group, where did you feel you'd finish?
I think we should have put a better performance. I think we need a bit of a... So I'm a Hearts fan, and like we were all talking about Scottish football last season. Bit of fight, bit of hardcore. You've not seen that. You've not seen that in the World Cup. There's no the fight. There's no the elbows in. There's no the Scotland the brave. And I think it is actually an embarrassment for the players. But I don't think that comes to the players. I think that's the way that Steve Clarke's one of the players. I think it's an embarrassment. Two or three of those goals, just play Craig Gordon. He saves them.
That's Reece, thanks for your call. That's the problem, that they'll look back at their missed opportunities. Yeah. I'm not suggesting they should have won all 3 games or even 2 of them, but they'll look back at the middle game. Morocco
could have done more.
Could have had a penalty, maybe 2.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
You know, when you think about it, it's all happening here in New York. A massive run of DAZN Saturday fight nights continues. This Saturday, two princes collide in Brooklyn, just down the road from us here at the World Trade Center, as Xander Zayas defends his world middleweight titles against Jaron Boots Ennis. Join DAZN Ultimate and get access to 12+ pay-per-view events every year, including Zayas against Boots this weekend at no extra cost. It is going to be some fight, this, on Saturday night. Down the road at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Unified Super Welterweight champion Zayas puts his WBA and WBO belts on the line against former Unified Welterweight champion Jaron Boots Ennis live on DAZN. This was Boots when he came into the World Trade Center the other day and had a brief chat with me looking ahead to this fight.
This will definitely be my signature victory for me, because I will put on a beautiful show, you know, get the knockout and come back home with two belts, you know, to be the new unified WBO, WBA Super Welterweight champion of the world.
I notice he also believes that you're straying into complacency. Are you treating him like an absolute equal on Saturday night?
He got two belts, he got what I want, and I'm going to take it. So yeah, that's the best part, you know, and that's going to be the most funnest part, because he got what I want, and I'm taking him in Saturday night, and this is my night. It's my night to show out and have fun and put on a show.
Sure. Have fun and put on a show. He was very complimentary about the man who's joined us live in studio here at the World Trade Center, sitting next to Simon. Top boxing promoter, Matchroom chairman, Eddie Hearn. Eddie, welcome.
Thank you.
What do you make of our talkSPORT Vantage Point?
Unbelievable. I'm just dying for the window cleaner to appear over your shoulder. I mean, the length that people will go to listen to talkSPORT these days is unbelievable. Look at that. Sailing down the World Trade Center to listen to me on White Jordan. I mean, I know I'm a big draw, but that's unbelievable.
Eddie, great to have. What kind of fight are we going to see then at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn?
For me, this is the fight of the year. I mean, it's the best be the best. It's a 23-year-old young superstar in Xander Zayas who deserves so much credit for taking this fight. Top Rank, who is his promotional company, they're really good at moving fighters and basically not getting them beat. They actually couldn't believe that he called out this fight. And you know, Roy Jones, I was listening to him, he was saying how good it is that a young guy that thinks he's the best in the division wants to take on really the bogeyman of the division, which is Boots. And you've got 23 years old, 28 years old. You've got a huge Puerto Rican fan base in Zayas. You've got the whole of Philly coming up to New York, and New York in Brooklyn. I don't want to put too much pressure on Boots Ennis, but I'm going to do it anyway because he's that special. This kid is the pound-for-pound #1 in the weighting. He is the most phenomenal fighter I've ever seen. He is going to do a job...
You've ever seen?
I've ever seen in my entire career. He's that good. And he will put on a performance on Saturday that will announce him as the new megastar of boxing. But it's fight of the year. You've got Emiliano Vargas, you've got Ben Whittaker making his
US
yeah,
debut. He's been fantastic, lighting the place up here so far. And yeah, Boots is really special. You know, on that pound-for-pound list, you get fighters that have got extraordinary talent. And I don't want to be critical, but it's Shakur Stevenson, it's Devin Haney. They fight one way. They've got like an unbelievable IQ where they go in, and it's a little bit safety first. I respect that because that's the art of boxing. Boots is the opposite. He can do all that, but he walks you down, he fights you in the pocket, and he's in there to take you out as soon as possible. And I can't wait for it. I mean, you rave about Boots.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, conventional wisdom will tell you that all of what Eddie has just said is the case. Now, reputationally, you know, you've got to have great fights and you've got to have great dance partners to be able to make that claim in perpetuity. We've seen Terence Crawford have that situation. The fact that he's missed out for various reasons, a variety of reasons, in fighting an Errol Spence or a Terence Crawford doesn't help him in some respects. But this is potentially a generational talent. Now, you look at who he's beaten and you say, well, OK, Avanesyan's a decent fighter and Lima's a decent fighter. The fact that Zayas has taken this fight as a voluntary is incredible because it's probably the most difficult fight in the division. I think he'll win. I think he'll win in style.
Boots?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, contractually, it's a fight that these guys needed to make for him because Boots Ennis is a commodity that a lot of people would be aspiring to have. So they've made this fight and created this opportunity for him. I'd like to see him fight Josh Kelly. I'd like to see Josh Kelly do his job. Eddie's got another opportunity there to make another unification circumstance. You know, he's won world titles by being handed them to some extent. He didn't win his first world title at welterweight because it was a vacated belt, but he did go and win 2 fights there.
Yep.
He will, I think, beat Zayas on the weekend, beat him compellingly, and we'll all see how good he is. But to say that he is, I mean, listen, I'm not going to just pick a fight with Eddie for the sake of picking a fight, but to say...
That'd be unlike you.
No, because more often I only pick fights when you tell lies, and you do that quite often. But the fact of the matter is that this is a generational great fighter in the waiting.
Yes.
So he's right, absolutely.
Yeah, actually, Simon is right. I mean, he missed out the fact that Boots fought Stanionis, who was actually the number one in the division, and unified the title. He did fight the very best fighter in the division and destroyed him. He wanted to miss that.
Ben Whittaker on the undercard. Sorry, Brad, I'll let you come in a second. I just want you to tell me what it takes to make it stateside. Because that's what Ben's trying to do.
You know, that's a good point. I mean, it's difficult even when you're at the very top to make it stateside because of the kind of liquidity of sports here and where boxing is on the pecking order, right? Because you've not just got all the big American sports, you've got the college systems and everything sits below that. Ben is... Everybody talks about this showman, right? And when I met Ben, the one thing that stood out to me was actually he's a very, very good young man. I mean, he's a man of extreme faith. He's an unbelievable talent. He works extremely hard, but he is a showman and he has unbelievable talent. So when you walk out, there's a lot of people, 15,000 in there on Saturday, it'd be wild. A lot of those people are boxing fans. They know Ben Whittaker. And some of those people that are casual fans don't. But what he has is the personality to grab your attention.
Right.
And the fight style to grab your attention.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. That's what I said about Boots as well. A lot of people don't just want to go and watch these skilled fighters. They want to come and see entertainment. And Ben is the entertainment king. I think, you know, he has all that personality and showmanship to be a star. But a lot of people don't talk about his resume and Simon made the right point about Boots. I can tell you how great he is until he starts beating the best.
Sure.
It's irrelevant. And that's the same for Ben. He's got to go through those levels.
Brad, you were going to come in.
Well, I just want will likely go the distance? Is it going to be
Which
a short?
one, Boots? I don't think so. I think, I mean, again, Boots starts so fast, Brad. A lot of these guys like to go and feel it out. He walks straight down with that Philly shell, and he'll back you up, and he'll want to fight you on the inside. People say he gets hit too much because he just stands in the pocket and tees off on you. So Zayas is a 23-year-old kid with a big set of cojones, very proud kid, who he thinks, by the way, there is no way in the world he loses on Saturday. Zayas, right?
Really?
I don't think his team feel the same way, but he does. But it makes him extremely dangerous.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah.
I mean,
Eddie, I don't mean to sound disrespectful to him, but why did AJ never make it out there?
Well, we nearly did, but unfortunately we had a bit of a bad night. We got, you know, he came over.
Andy Ruiz.
I mean, look, he sold out Madison Square Garden and got beat by Andy Ruiz. So it was a big reset moment. And listen, it actually ended up being one of the best things that happened to him, you know, in the path of his career, and definitely with the rematch for Ruiz and the Saudi, you know, development. But ultimately, I think if he would have gone and chinned Andy Ruiz, I think we would have been back for more. Ironically, it was Jake Paul that brought us back to America last year in Miami. And actually, from a profile perspective, that was one of the best things he's ever done. So, you know, who's to say that he won't be returning to America at some point? But definitely, if he would have beaten Andy Ruiz, I think they would have seen more of him here.
I think that's probably right. I mean, personality is a big thing. You see great fighters that don't translate into the mainstream. Ben Whittaker, whatever people think of him, and I'm in the camp of liking the charisma, the various people that get offended by it and get annoyed by it and say, how dare you do that to fighters? The fighters themselves don't actually get offended by it when they're in the ring. Yeah. It's all part of entertainment. I think he translates over here because he's got to back it up. He's in a very competitive division. I mean, in light heavyweight division is probably one of the best stacked divisions around. So if Ben Whittaker's going to do something meaningful and back up all the things that he thinks he's capable of doing, he's going to have to do it in a difficult division. But in America, as he will know, personality sells. So if you can back up the charisma that he's got with the ability, then Ben Whittaker will make a fortune over here.
Eddie, you've promoted fights all over the world. I am told the Barclays Centre in Brooklyn, in terms of atmosphere, is right up there.
Yeah.
I mean, for those who tune in on Saturday, I mean, what are we likely to see in here? Because I hear it is boisterous from start to finish.
I mean, look, we spend a lot of time here in Madison Square Garden. We've got the darts there tonight and tomorrow. It wasn't available this Saturday, but it's not that we went to Barclays instead. It's on par, and it's a real fantastic venue. But it's really the fan bases that make it. I mean, if you remember when Katie Taylor boxed Amanda Serrano at MSG, you had half the arena was Puerto Rico, half the arena was Ireland. And it was probably, forget female boxing, all that rubbish. What a mix. Probably the best atmosphere I've ever seen. You've got that again on Saturday because you've got all the Puerto Rican fans. Zayas is like a hero over there. Plus, you've got all of Philly driving up. Boots is huge in the city. You've got the New York fans. This is a great city for sport. I mean, we are wedged. One of the problems when you come here is you're wedged between so much entertainment and opportunity and options for the public to attend events and sporting occasions. But the city's buzzing, obviously, after the Knicks, and the Jets haven't done so well.
Don't talk about the Knicks. Don't talk. No, we're done talking about
Knicks,
the Knicks.
Oh, yeah. That was almost a very bad experience for me, Eddie, trying to get through the Knicks celebration parade.
I thought I saw you there somewhere, partying away.
Eddie Hearn is in studio with us as we talk boxing.
Handcuffs.
And it proves to be a very popular topic on our show. Eddie's going to stay the other side of this upcoming break. So where are we now? We're coming up to 10 o'clock in the morning here in New York. It's 3 o'clock where you are back home in the UK, and it continues to be sweltering back there in the United Kingdom. We wish you well trying to cope with that. We've got another beautiful day here in New York City. And we're live in partnership with Tool Station. Fast Track delivers to you from 30 minutes. First stop, Tool Station.
Bellingham left a bit on one of their players, which upset the coaching staff of Ghana at half-time. The assistant coach had something to say. He could have left it, but it's not in him, really. So he answered back, and then it kicked off, and Carlos Queiroz got involved, and Morgan Rogers was trying to get him off the pitch. You kind of sense that, managers are saying, get into him, wind him up, because he could be a walking red card. I mean, what would you be saying to him? I mean, let's be honest, you did have a little moment on the pitch where your discipline went slightly awry, didn't it?
Problem with, you don't want to ever take the fire out of Bellingham. One of my closest friends in football was Craig Bellamy, and you see Craig on the pitch, and he was fiery and non-stop arguing and bickering with opposing players, his own players, the ref, but he needed that fire to get him going. And I feel Bellingham as well. And if you try to curb that from Bellingham, I think you take away from the player. So as long as it doesn't go too far where he gets red cards, I don't think he's let his country down with red cards and stuff like that. So as long as it's controlled, just let that fire, because like you said, didn't go to plan yesterday for him, but he's one of our most talented players. And if we're going to win this World Cup, then I'm sure he's got to be key to that. So
It shows he cares as well.
Managers do that though, don't they? I mean, managers must be saying that, you know what he's like, get under his skin a little bit, anything could happen.
Well, you see what happened in '98 with Simone and Beckham.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they think they can con referees or get in the head of other players, they're going to do it. It's part and parcel. The mental game's just as important as the physical game. But like you said with Bellingham, I don't think it will ever go to the point where he'll let us down and do something stupid with a red card.
Do you genuinely think England can win this? I feel it's like looking at the Premier League before.
Talk Sport.
3 o'clock, good afternoon. This is talkSPORT. Here are your sports headlines. There's still 18 group games to go in the World Cup, but very few are now fancying Scotland's chances of progressing to the knockouts for the first time ever. It's still possible. The full permutations are on talkSPORT.com. But David Moyes says Steve Clarke, either way, deserves overwhelming credit.
We've not been able to get to competitions. Steve has. Steve's got us there over the last few years, a few competitions, I should say, which what I think is not a great deal of quality.
Brad Friedel, meanwhile, thinks Clarke didn't necessarily get his tactics wrong, but reckons the team's mentality hasn't quite been on point.
I thought they thought the Haiti game was going to be easier. They should have won by 2 or 3 goals, but I thought the mindset wasn't right, and then I thought the mindset and approach was defensive in the other 2 games. And so when you're in that defensive mindset, but then you're told to play out of the back, it's confusing.
The first thing Scotland could do with would be Germany, who have already qualified, beating Ecuador tonight at 9 on talkSPORT. Speaking of Ecuador, their defender Piero Hincapié has now been signed permanently by Arsenal for £34.5 million following his successful loan spell last season. We understand, meanwhile, that Craig Bellamy's to move to Burnley. That move is now falling through due to his Wales backroom staff not being available. Hearts, meanwhile, have appointed Belgian Wouter Vraken as their new manager following Derek McInnes' move to Rangers. And at Trent Bridge, it's been a barren day one for England's bowlers. Sam Ellard.
New Zealand 179 without loss, but a big missed chance from England. Devon Conway would have been out if England had reviewed a delivery from Bashir. Forward defence, England thought it was bat first, replay showed pad first, and ball tracking showed 3 reds. The ball was hitting the stump, so if England reviewed, it would have been a wicket. A big missed opportunity. Latham's got 86, Conway's got 83. New Zealand 179 without loss.
And you can get live ball-by-ball coverage on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel if you're an overseas listener. Another website plug, talkSPORT.com, has a full list of next season's EFL fixtures. As announced today, Burnley and West Ham will face each other at Turf Moor on the opening weekend of the Championship on Sunday the 16th of August.
talkSPORT News.
We've beaten yesterday's June temperature record, and back-to-back earthquakes have killed at least 164 people in Venezuela. Find out more with Amelia at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza all-season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
At least 30 degrees across England. Cooler in Scotland. The north of Scotland has some heavy rain as well.
Well, we're in a star-studded city, New York City, and we have a star-studded lineup for you today on the show. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan, and we are live from New York. It has just gone 10 o'clock in the morning in this part of the world. Brad Friedel is with us here in studio, and alongside Brad, I'm delighted to say, Chairman of Matchroom Boxing, Eddie Hearn, is with us too. And we're not done after that in terms of the star-studded look, because former England and Chelsea captain John Terry has just walked in. Good to see John, ladies and gentlemen. And John will be coming up here and joining us live about 1:15 and taking us home to the top of the hour. And it's all very strange. We finish at 11 a.m. in New York, and then we've got the rest of the day to think about. And I'll no doubt be thinking about Scotland and their chances of going through. No, I won't. What happens, happens in that one. But with Eddie in studio, we've spoken about Zayas against Boots this weekend. We have to take the opportunity, guys, to talk about a bunch of other boxing subjects. And into that category, Eddie, undoubtedly falls AJ Fury. Signed and sealed?
Signed, completely signed, yeah. I mean, subject to victory over Prenga on July 25th in Jeddah, part of Jeddah season now rather than Riyadh season, and everything signed, everything agreed. A long process, obviously, probably about 10 years actually, but the process of negotiation for that contract, probably 6 to 9 months, and obviously with AJ's accident, you know, coming off the Jake Paul fight, that delayed the whole process because originally he was going to fight actually Rico Verhoeven in March and then fight Fury in August, and obviously with his injuries, that's moved now to obviously fighting in July and then the Fury fight in November.
So signed and sealed, no danger of not being delivered?
No, only through defeat. I mean, obviously, if either fighter was to lose in their upcoming fights, we're yet to hear a confirmation from Tyson Fury. You know, the word is he's been trying to fight on that August 1st show with Queensberry in Ireland. Bit slow, it seems, for the announcement, but we're locked in July 25th. So there's nothing that can stop the fight other than someone getting beat, which, you know, I wouldn't say is unlikely, but obviously it would be a huge shock if any of those guys were to lose.
We're standing here in New York. This fight, AJ Fury, you rightly say we've waited long enough. Is it going to be here or in the UK?
Well, contractually, it must be in the UK for us. So at the moment, there's been no conversations with us or the team about a fight anywhere else other than the UK because they know that's in our contract. AJ was pretty insistent and everybody wanted the fight to take place in the UK because obviously it's the biggest fight in the history of our country. It's two Brits, and you feel the feedback from fight fans. They feel like they'd be a little bit shortchanged if it was taken to America. There has definitely been some kind of conversations for where that fight could take place. Originally, it was potentially Croke Park. America's definitely in the conversation as well. But I'm not looking to be arrogant about it. We kind of hold the keys in our contractual sense because it's very clear in our contract where the fight has to take place.
But the venue is still up for renegotiation?
That's down to Anthony Joshua, to be honest with you, because he's the boss and the contract's with him and us. So it's a situation where Turki Al-Sheikh has asked to have a meeting with myself and a few other members of the boxing community. He calls them peace talks, which we will definitely entertain out of respect, whether we cooperate or not. Depends how I feel on the day and what's in the best interest of myself, Matchroom, AJ, all these people. But he's paying the bill, right? So if he comes to me and says, listen, I'd quite like this fight to take place in America, you know, it changes a lot of things. I mean, there's, you know, a withholding tax issue that changes. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. So in essence, if we're going to change anything in a contract, there has to be a good reason, and then there probably has to be a renegotiation of the contract or certainly a sensible conversation. So we'll entertain those conversations, and we want the fight to take place in the UK. I mean, that's the whole spirit of the deal that we did. It's a clause within the agreement.
I get it.
But we also understand that Turki Al-Sheikh is paying for the fight. He's also paying a premium for the fight, and we want the fight. So until I have those conversations, all I can tell you is what's in our existing contract.
I mean, how resolute, Eddie, can you remain that Zuffa and Dana White will be nowhere near the promotion of this fight?
Same thing as the venue. It's in our contract. So unless we change that, they won't be. But I don't think, for me, that's not really a conversation. There's no point or value in that happening. If for financial reasons for Saudi and Turkey, he wants to move the venue, I'll definitely, as a partner and you know, a friend a lot of the time, sometimes back and forth, we'll have that conversation with him. You know, the Dana stuff, like, I know it's you guys like it, and I thought you were bang out of order to Frank Warren the other day. I mean, I thought, well done for sticking up. I felt bad for Frank. I mean, he's just woken up somewhere. He's at home in the lounge. You didn't stop.
Why?
He's 75 years old. I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, Paul
Frank can handle some direct questioning.
He was upset with Scotland's performance.
Yeah, that was
so
what, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Frank can handle direct questioning.
But look, I know you like that stuff. The situation is, contractually, they can't be involved. So if Turkey comes to me and says this, I don't see... That's not really a conversation that I'm interested or what I'm interested in. Where's the fight taking place?
Yeah, well...
Because you told us the fight's taking place in the UK. It's contractually solid for us that it's in the UK. If you want to change that, tell me why and tell me how.
So if Turkey wants it to happen here in the USA, it will happen?
No, only if we want it to, and only if the resolution that they suggest... It doesn't matter, Jim. We have a contract. It's like we don't have to take the fight in America. He has to deliver the fight in the UK under our contract, right? Now, as I said, he's a friend and partner. So if there's reason for him and a benefit for him to stage it elsewhere, of course, we'll have the conversation. Right. It's got to be in the best interest of Anthony Joshua.
And I'm not going down the same route as I did with Frank, but I will ask you, if Turkey wants Dana White involved, he'll be involved.
I know, but you're not really listening to the contractual situation. Contractually, he can't be. Now, again, if someone wants to come with a resolution to renegotiate a contract and rip it up and tell me why that's a benefit to Matchroom and to Anthony Joshua, but I don't think that's a conversation, to be honest with you. I don't see, there's no value in that. You know, the value is in, we just want to see the fight, but we want to know where it is and what's happening.
But because Turkey is up there and he's the money Eddie, you guys, with due respect, are all just pawns in all of this, are you not?
Listen, I'm a pawn if there's a few quid involved. I don't mind. And if it's in the best interest of Anthony Joshua and we're all making a fortune, I'll be the little pawn. You know, I mean, most of the time I'm the king at the back, but sometimes you have to be a little bit dynamic. So, in answer to your question, we're big boys. We'll do what we want to do. If there's a benefit, I don't really care. There's always a price to the ego. But for me, I don't see the value in... I don't think that's part of the conversation.
How do you see it playing out, Simon?
In the end, it'll go where the money determines it goes. Now, I don't know. No one's got visibility of the contract. I don't know, with due respect to Eddie, what's in that contract. I'm surprised. The man's not a fool to negotiate a contract where he doesn't have the whip hand to some extent, because the commerciality of the deal, the object of Turkey Al-Sheikh has to be evaluated, because if he's paying a premium, the reason why this fight happens, I've described it, and I don't care whether he likes it or not, as a race to the bank. You know, I understand the validity of the fight. I understand the call for the fight because it's two generational heavyweights, not in their peak, but it's a money-making opportunity. So they're not going to do it for the love of the fans. They're going to do it for
fighters, or Simon.
I don't dispute that. But the world's moved on now, and there are other special fighters that are now dominating the heavyweight division, and these two are not those. But I understand their legacies, I understand the value to the British public. But the reason why this fight is happening is not because there's a destiny to collide, it's because the finances behind it underpin the opportunity. So that means that Turkey Al-Sheikh, with due respect to Eddie's little diatribe, will determine where this fight goes. Now, I don't know where the contractual obligation lies. Anthony Joshua sits in a contract with him in the same way that Tyson Fury sits in a contract with Queensberry, which is that they have different broadcast obligations to them. He doesn't form part of their stable of obligations when they're dealing with their broadcast in the same way that Tyson Fury doesn't do with Frank and George. So there'll be a whole raft of conversations. This fight will end up, with due respect, where the paymaster wants it to.
Yeah.
And we can all talk about the protestations. He will want to virtue signal his way through the situation, which is I am Eddie Hearn. I represent the best value of the fans as well as the fighters. This is a fight between two British generational greats. It should be in the UK. But it'll go where the money determines. And however that negotiation happens, whether they play nice or they don't play nice, my suggestion is that if Turkey wants this fight to happen in the US or in the Middle East or wherever he chooses, in Eddie's back garden, as it was once done in COVID.
Yeah.
That's where it will happen, because that's
like
where it will
else,
happen.
Eddie, money talks, doesn't it? I mean, Conor Benn, now Johnny Fisher, fighters that you're losing to Zuffa. I mean, and Dana White, I should add. Is that trend going to continue?
No, I mean, you mentioned two fighters. I mean, the latter just had an unbelievable... No disrespect to Johnny Fisher, who I love, and he's like... We're big game players, you know. We're taking fight. You've got Jerome Boots Ennis, who's a pound-for-pound #1. You've got Dimitri Bivol, pound-for-pound #5. You've got Bam Rodriguez, pound-for-pound #3. I mean, we deal with elite talent. We've got over 100 fighters. We've got over 40 dates a year globally. We're the only global promotional company in the world. We're on another level, right? But these guys come in, they're powerful. They don't know what they're doing yet, which is a great benefit to us. But, you know, I mean, you can say that the Conor Benn thing was definitely a blow. I mean, especially everything that me and him, you know, we cut our cloth in some great conversations where I went on the hill for Conor Benn, and you know, it is what it is. You live and you learn. But the Johnny Fisher thing is great for John. Listen, if I can get fighters that don't particularly have...
What's he getting? 6 times what he was getting with you?
See, the issue is the fight, right? So Johnny Fisher, rightfully so, by the way, because he's had a defeat and he's, you know, wants to have opposition that I would be competitive with. Like I'm talking about, and because he wants low-level fights to get in a bit of a swing, 2-3 fights like that. For me, I can't deliver that product for DAZN because you'd laugh it out of town. If I headlined a show for Johnny Fisher against the guys he's going to be fighting, I would be ridiculed. Yeah. But where you come into the marketplace, And the offer that they made to him was 6.5 times more than I would be prepared to pay for a fight that he will be in. Because the fight that he is in is not good enough for my product, for DAZN's product, to put bums on seats, to make people engage. For Johnny, it's amazing, and I'm so happy for him, because it's a fight that can go and pay a mortgage.
Sure. And Johnny, the converse of this argument is that we're making a case to be able to hit him around the head with the fact he's losing a fighter. Dana has regularly and repeatedly turned around and said, the best versus the best. With all due respect, I don't think I'm getting particularly excited about TKO and Dana White signing John Fisher. So I don't think it's a kick up the backside for Matchroom. I think Eddie's fallen off his stool.
Sorry.
Because
Eddie, we're 50 floors up.
I knew I love this guy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, call it as it is.
No, you're right. No,
when you go around telling fibs, I'll pull you up on it. In this instance, you are in a situation where, what does he lose? He's just taken Ben Whittaker from Ben Shalom. It's the way the world goes, right?
I think
you told me this was going to go different.
Yeah.
I know, the best of chums.
At the moment, but look, these guys are serious players, right? But they don't know anything about boxing. So at the moment, their product is really poor. Now, that could change. But I've got to also say, like, you said earlier when we come off the break, you was like, wow, I don't want to, obviously, I won't tell people you said, well, you really are the greatest promoter that's ever lived the way you talk. Did
I say that?
But on a serious note, like, you know how I live and breathe it,
of
right?
course.
And it's a difference.
Of course.
I went to war with Frank Warren for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
I loved every moment of it. Don't get me wrong, it definitely aged me, right? And it was tough work. But Frank, you know Frank, right?
Yep.
Frank's on another level to Dana White. Frank is the most relentless operator that will, like, you literally do an interview, he'll be phoning up the media, getting them around the house in Hertfordshire. I want you now, and he's firing back. And you wake up in the morning, you got a legal letter. You wake up in the morning, there's another interview.
That's all well and good, but Dana White is backed by Turkey.
I don't care who he's backed by.
Right.
You're as good as you are, and he ain't anywhere near my league. And all this talk about peace talks, I've got to be honest with you, I don't want peace talks. I want war talks. Because I had 15 years with Warren. It was like the greatest time of my career. And now we're all playing nice. And I'm glad we do, because I like going out to dinner with Frank. He's a great company, and George is a great guy.
Everybody's friends.
Yeah, but it's boring, Jim. It's like, you guys, I know what you guys want. You guys want beef. You want the violence in and out of the ring. So for me, when we have those meetings next week that Turki Al-Sheikh wants, it's got to be, it's not just a case of, all right, let's do a photo with our hands in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see who's the best.
But he's the boss, isn't he?
Not really. I mean, he's a guy with a huge amount of money. Who knows how long it's going to last?
Right.
We have to worry
but
about
Eddie,
our
to
own
finish
business.
with, has he not made the fight that you and Frank?
100%. He is the reason that this fight is happening.
There you go.
Okay, so we got to give him the credit. By the way, people talk about who's the promoter. He's the promoter. I mean, he's the guy that should be in the middle.
Right.
All I am in this fight is Anthony Joshua's promoter. And I don't care, because I just want the fight. And I want AJ to chin Tyson Fury, and I want to jump in the ring, and I want to come on your show and gloat so bad and sit there with, I don't know, an Anthony Joshua T-shirt on or whatever. But it's like, that's what we're in the sport for.
Eddie,
I don't
brilliant.
care. Turkey's the guy that should be in the middle.
I have to say, whenever you join us live, even back at the news building at London Bridge or here in New York, you never disappoint. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Eddie's about to leave us here. Who's coming in next? I'll tell you who's coming in next. Former Chelsea and England captain John Terry will join us live.
Let's now hear from talkSPORT's very own Andy Jacobs from earlier today. And it's fair to say that he wasn't happy with Ghana's low block.
If all 48 teams played like that,
yeah,
football wouldn't exist.
No, Michael Mosbacher would be right, wouldn't he?
Boring.
Yeah.
And it's just, we'll talk about England later, but, I just can't stand.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the low block outlawed. I'd like to see, basically, if you
Yeah.
defend with more than five defenders in your last 30 yards, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
Jeez.
What do you reckon to that, Darren? Outlaw the low block.
Yeah, no, it's not for me. That because I understand, but I feel like nowadays, right, we are absolutely fascinated with the way that teams play, right? So obviously, being an Arsenal fan, we've had it all season. Set piece FC, the way Arsenal plays isn't attractive to watch. We hate it. Now you got, and Arsenal don't defend in the low block. It's just what Arsenal, this Arsenal the way that they play. Now, obviously, people are moaning about Ghana and the way that they played. Now, I didn't watch them last night and think this is boring. At not one point of that game last night did I think this was boring, because I thought Ghana defended really well, defended deep, but you could see that when they had opportunities to break forward, they'd try and break forward. They weren't just sitting there for the sake of it, like kicking it.
No, they were trying to win the game, but from a defensive, being defensively stable first.
And it was almost a masterclass in terms of tactics, because they sat in there, they defended deep, they didn't allow too much space, and then right at the end, they get the opportunity where it is a penalty with a tackle on Konza, or the guy scores it. So if they come away from there winning 1-0, we'd come in today going, Carlos Queiroz, first of all, we'd obviously attack England in their performance, but we'd sit here and go, that was an absolute masterclass of how to defend deep, kind of ride your luck at times, but then when you counter-attack, you get that opportunity and you take it.
Yeah, and that's the point. You see what you just said there? A master.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
New York City, we are live from this fabulous city, as we have been for many days now, and thoroughly enjoying it. 20 past 10 in the morning, a Thursday morning here in New York, Thursday afternoon with you back in the UK, 20 past 3 in the afternoon. Eddie Hearn has gone, no doubt, to another meeting. Eddie is a very busy man. So too is this fella. I've seen him on many occasions over this side of the pond, in conversation with my own Simon Jordan and, of course, with Piers Morgan. I'm delighted to say, joining myself and Brad and Simon, former Chelsea and England captain, John Terry is with us. John, you're welcome. How are you enjoying it out here, apart from the odd confrontation with Simon?
I'm enjoying my time with Simon. Enjoying my time here, actually. The first game, obviously, with England was great. Second one against Ghana, not so. But still very confident in the group, and have my family here as well with me, which is nice to experience the World Cup with my kids.
Great. And you know this fella, the two of you played against each other on many occasions.
Long time.
So you're coming up for a corner. What was Frido like?
Just shouting abuse at his defenders and the opposition and everyone around him.
Well, different on the field and off the field. Come on, Jim.
What was he like? In front of you, standing in front of you? Did you always worry about the presence of Big John?
Well, I didn't have time to think about it. I mean, they had such good teams. Like I was a busy boy, and unfortunately, he was spending a lot of time in my box on set pieces and that. But they were uncharacteristically big, especially when Mourinho came in the first time. All of a sudden, they had 4, 5, 6 that were very good in the air. I mean, Drogba was an animal. You were the beast coming forward. William Gallas was good in the air.
You were good defensively.
Yeah, we were, and we had some really good teams at Blackburn. Mark Hughes and Graham Souness put together some strong. We had some physical,
excellent
confrontations.
So, John, what about England then? 2 games in, have the positives outweighed the negatives?
I don't think so. I'm not too concerned with the Ghana game. for me. I think we'll comfortably beat Panama in a couple of days. But I'm not too concerned with it. I thought Ghana played well. They done what they had to do. I'm probably more worried we didn't break him down or didn't find a way to break him down for me. Like, for me, I'm watching the game, and even after 20 minutes, I'm going, we definitely don't need two sitters. We don't need Rice and Anderson. So you take one off straight away. We spoke about kind of this manager making big decisions early. I'm watching the game live, and I thought we could have made that after 20 minutes. Worst case, half-time, put Jude and Rodgers in the two pockets, make it difficult for Partey either side of him. I just thought we lacked kind of conviction, movement, overlaps from our fullbacks, which is why we played the fullbacks we played. So yeah, overall disappointed with that game, but not too concerned, if that makes sense.
I was at the game. I was calling it. The one player for me, and I'm not too concerned with England either. I like their squad, as you know. The one player that looked a touch out of place and slowed the game down was Gordon for me. And I thought when they brought on O'Reilly that was gonna help, but he seemed to just slow it down, almost like he should have gone in the center a little bit and bring some more pace, because Ghana packed everybody in the center of the pitch. That was the only player for me that looked out of place.
Yeah, and I've spoken about this. I think Rashford and Saka have to be our starters for me. And I think Gordon and Madueke coming on are kind of impact players. And also, when you get players that are kind of right-footed playing on the left, he comes inside. You often get an overtaking fullback in O'Reilly. He does that way more than Spence. Spence didn't do it enough, which then causes problems for the Ghanaian defence. When you start pulling teams apart, when it's slow ball movement across the midfield and it goes from one side to another defensively, it's really easy to shift and stay in your positions and stay compact.
Yeah.
As soon as that ball's shifted and moved out quicker and you get overlaps, all of a sudden a right side centre half gets pulled out in an area where you don't want to be. There's gaps in between you and the next centre half if the midfielder doesn't track the runner from Jude and players like that. So movement was a lack of for me. And also, I just think our options, like we bring O'Reilly on, he gets the header in the box late on. You start putting bodies in the box against these low defensive block teams. Like it was calling out for Tony to come on for me, get more bodies in the box, because we had players come on, put more crosses in the box. Saka come on and made an impact, I thought. But I just think Saka and Rashford has to start.
Rashford has to start. You hearing them, Simon?
It's a difficult one to debate with the guys that have played at the elite level, but I'm trying to work out at which particular point have we seen Rashford start a game for England and really, really impress. It's always the argument that Rashford finishes a game well, so we make the argument he should start the game. No, I'm not advocating for Anthony Gordon over Marcus Rashford. I'm just simply saying that Marcus Rashford has been dropped out of Barcelona for Anthony Gordon, dropped out of Man United for a variety of reasons, dropped out of the England side. We either think that Tuchel was an elite manager or we don't. So we've got to take a view on what his decisions are. But I can't... Rashford, to me, is a consequence player. You boot him up the backside and all of a sudden he arrives back on the scene. You tell him he's got to play for England in the World Cup, the qualifying season, all of a sudden he had a good season. He goes off and goes to Ireland as a blowout and then doesn't turn up for training, and the next time he comes back and he plays the next 3 games well. So maybe there's a case for it. But Rashford coming on for me, obviously against the conventional wisdom of these two guys' expertise, is a better outcome than Rashford starting.
Can you see his point on Rashford, John?
Rashford starting, and we'll go, what was Rashford doing then?
I can, but then the other option is you play Gordon, and unfortunately with Anthony Gordon and Madueke, they just lack that little bit of quality in the final third. So you will get frustrated. You will have moments like that. You'll have the next game, I'm sure, if Anthony Gordon plays, he'll be really direct and he'll maybe score or cause havoc in the defence. But I think with Rashford, is a better player. He's more consistent, and if I'm a defender and I see Rashford go off and Anthony Gordon come on, I'm petrified because the pace and the speed of him is incredible. And he's really direct as well.
Yeah.
So with the lack of quality, and that's probably being disrespectful, with the lack of quality he has at international level, I just think Rashford's the better option.
And England, as the tournament goes on, England's going to play teams that are going to try to punch them as well.
Yeah.
And then the game opens up, and then when you have Saka and you have Rashford and you have Bellingham, and then if you need to bring Rodgers on, and you got legs and speed.
What was your reaction, John, when you heard that Anthony Gordon, Barcelona, 75 million?
It's a lot of money. It's a big move, but has he warranted it? I'm not sure. I think he's a direct player. Is he a top world-class player? No, but I actually really like him. It excites me when I watch him. He's really direct. And I see so many wingers nowadays get the ball and turn back and come square, sideways, and it goes out the other side. What I do love about him He's brave, he's direct, and he's so quick and can be a real threat as well. When you're defending, you're under so much pressure as well. Brad will understand this. When you're under attack, you give it to people like that and you go, get me up the pitch. Just give me 5 minutes break. You need to get a break, you need to get bodies behind the ball. And he's so direct, he can get at back forward.
It's funny he says it. When you go do your coaching badges, they're all doing defending. And they say, no, you want to get cover, You play against some players. You don't have time to have cover. So you have to deal 1v1. It's impossible to delay someone to some of the players.
John, it's great having you on board on this show today. I'm delighted you could make it for us. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan, Brad Friedel, John Terry. We're live in talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. Fast Track delivers to you from 30 minutes. First stop, Toolstation.
Our big players aren't like rising to the occasion, and Darren, you'll know this more than me, but I was sitting pitch side melting tonight. The conditions were horrific. Like the humidity was stifling. You know that way you're taking a breath in and there's no fresh air around you. It's hard work. And when Andy Robertson came off at half time, he walked right past me and he looked like he was laboured. He looked like it was like, you know, the end of a horse race, and you know, you could see his like side going and stuff. He was really struggling, and then he didn't come back on, you know, so there was a number of factors to come into it. I think the weather might have caused us an issue. It was blooming hot, really hot. We're not built for this madness.
No, we're certainly not. Just quickly, I heard you were a bit unhappy with Steve Clarke, some of his exchanges with reporters post-match.
Yeah, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I mean, who do you think you are? Do you think you're Pep? Because you're not. You know, we've not been at a World Cup since 1998, and it's incredible that we're there. And it's down to Steve Clarke. So I get that he's done his bit, but I think that's last week. It happened after Morocco to somebody I've known for a long time. You know, you come off and you storm off from somebody like that when they've got their job to do and you've got your job to do. And then 6 days later, you do the same thing again. You know, don't understand why we have to do this. We shouldn't have to do this. Well, you do have to do this, so front into it, because a lot of people have spent a lot of money being here, following this team, representing Scotland the best they can all over the world. Everybody's loving them. And then you're our guy, you're our gaffer, and you come out and you can't even just suit up for a moment and front into it. That really bothers me, because we're in this industry and, you know, we've not been able to speak to Steve Clarke once on this trip, and I thought we would have had that opportunity, win, lose or draw, because we're all here to do a job, and I get he's done his bit in getting us here, but at the end of the day, when that full-time whistle goes, you've just got to get on with it. So I'm really disappointed at that, because I love him. I love him. He's given us this opportunity to be here. He gave us the opportunity to get to the Euros, but don't speak to people like that.
Total football, tiki-taka, the gegenpress, ways of playing the beautiful game that have defined eras. They're all, of course, team styles, but there's one player who invented an individual position which no one else has been able to play since. A man by the name of Franz Beckenbauer. His role became known as libero, which means free in Italian, because there was a similar position well used in Italy in the late 50s and early 60s. But he refined it and made it his own. Now, when I say he was a sweeper, you're picturing him marauding in front of the backline. But Beckenbauer covered the entire pitch. He was like Alan Hansen, Claude Makelele and Paul Scholes, all in one. Despite his success at club level, though, Beckenbauer was told to play as a more traditional centre-back by the West Germany manager Helmut Schön at the 1966 and 70 World Cups. After years of begging to be set free, Schön relented, and in 1974, Beckenbauer had the tournament of a lifetime. His libero role was put to the test when he came across this lot in the final with their total football. West Germany won, and Beckenbauer had this moment of pure joy. His style hasn't been replicated since. Players have tried, but it's testament to just how good he was that no one's even come close.
NYC is right. It is 10:30 in the morning here in New York, 3:30 with you back in the UK. And we are live in talkSPORT, live on YouTube as well. You can watch the show as well as listen to it. And some of the views we have here are very much worthwhile having a look at. Fantastic vantage point from the 50th floor of the World Trade Center here in New York. As you can see, if you're watching, Brad Friedel, John Terry, Simon and myself coming to you live from New York City. John, I've got to ask you before we go anywhere, and no doubt poor Scott McKenna can't explain it this morning, even if he's asked. How can what happened to him last night in a game of that magnitude, in any game, how can that happen when it seems like a moment of indecision can end up being so costly on such a massive stage?
I think players and teams and coaches are so obsessed with playing out from the back. Now, I was very comfortable receiving the ball, playing out from the back. Jose wanted that in the early days at Chelsea. But inevitably, I would make the decisions of when I received it and when I didn't. Often Peter Cech would put it down and go, can we play? And I'd look round and go, there's a striker 5 yards away from me. I actually don't want it, no thanks. And also the thing that people don't realise as well, when you receive the ball there, if you go back to the keeper and then the keeper goes long, you're then 50, 60 yards in terms of distance between your defenders, midfielders and attackers. The main thing I would look at Scotland in this, you need to be compact. You look at Ghana the other night against England, they're compact. Everything they do, they're in a unit and they're together. When you look to play out from the back, if you end up going back to the keeper and then going long, you're so spread and so open. It's the last thing Scotland needed. So yes, he makes the mistake, which you cannot gift top sides like that on such a big stage in such a big game as well. So defensively, I think players have to take loads more responsibility for it and answer them questions when you go in at half-time of why you've not gone short, and deal with that as a player.
John, talking of defenders, in terms of England defensive partnerships, Gahey-Stones, Konsa-Stones, how does that match up to Terry Ferdinand from yesteryear?
It's probably for these two to answer, not me. Listen, I like the three of them. We've spoken about this, Simon, haven't we, on the show? And I think the three of them, you could play either three and the drop-off's not big either way. John Stones hasn't played much for Man City this year, so he probably needs minutes to kind of find his feet and his rhythm. Have we got time for that? Probably not. So I'll probably lend towards Esri and Mark in terms of the two starters. But if John Stones comes in, the level is there. And I think that's where we struggle. When we're talking about our wide players, when you take Saka and Rashford off and you bring Gordon and Madueke on, the drop goes from here to here, and it's too big. If you want to go to the final stages of this World Cup, you need the quality to be there, and France have that in abundance in terms of their attacking options. You bring someone on, the next player is maybe even better than the one that's gone off. Yeah. We don't have that in wide areas.
You're sitting here nodding.
No, I agree. Yeah. But you were saying about he and Rio, and then if you look at Konsa, Gahey or Stones, it's very similar. Because you have a lot of pace, but then you would also have good on the ball. And I think what Tuchel will be looking at is this is going to be a game where we're going to be higher up the pitch and the other team's going to counterattack. If they're going to counterattack on us, I'm probably going to want Konsa and Gahey in the team. If it's going to be a team that might come and press a little bit, I might want Stones in there to drive the ball into the midfield because he's very comfortable at that. But
he's done that with Spence as well, hasn't he? He brought Spence in at left back to kind of deal with the pace of the Ghanaians and stuff. But also, I look at the defenders the other night. They spend half the game in the opposition half. You're actually on the ball. It's actually not a role for a defender. You probably want midfielders in that area of the pitch. I spent my time on the halfway line because teams would always leave one up or maybe two up, so it kind of forces you back a little bit.
Yeah. John, we often hear this word brotherhood out here. The England group from Southgate to Tuchel have talked a lot about being a brotherhood. Your era, the golden generation, yet now we all seem to hear, it appears, is how the camps were impacted and disadvantaged by cliques. What takes you further in a huge tournament like this? Cliques or brotherhood?
Better players take you further, for me. And listen, if you've got that on the pitch, you've got your best players out there, you'll go and win football matches. We see that. Not everyone gets on in their team club environments, in England as well. So I'm not one for everyone getting on. I like the fact that Gareth has brought everyone together, and it feels like England are together over the last 4 or 5 years. Gareth's played a big part in that. The supporters feel that, and it feels together, which I really like. But at the same time, I couldn't care less if players didn't get on or do get on. Once you cross that white line, Brad will tell you, it doesn't matter.
And England wasn't getting knocked out of tournaments because of a lack of brotherhood. Penalties, the odd sending off, that was a bit unfortunate or silly, whichever way you want to talk about it. I'm in that camp. I mean, he played probably one of the best teams. If you look at Andy Cole and Teddy Sheringham, they didn't speak to one another, and they were winning trophy after trophy at the time.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter. You got on with them, you don't get on with them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
This fellow's specialised subject, well, many, but in this instance, let's go with it, goalkeeping. Can England win a World Cup with Jordan Pickford? What do you think? I'll ask you. It's your territory.
Yeah, they can. I think the first game, and we've spoken about it, he could have saved the first goal, of course. Should have is a different perception. I did think that he was very hesitant in the second half on the through ball that came, and I think he was very fortunate that a referee didn't see that in a different light, and he actually gave a foul against
Penalty for you?
Well, the one with Pickford, I felt he hesitated, and it was probably Pickford committed the foul, not the other player. I did think that there was an argument for a penalty against Konsa, I think it was. So I did think that, but I think Jordan Pickford is an excellent goalkeeper. I think he's had 1 or 2 nervy moments, but a lot of goalkeepers go through that. But I think he will be. I think he'll be fine through the remainder of the tournament. That's how I.
Where do you stand on Pickford?
He's the best England keeper we've got, I think, personally. I think his distribution with his feet is very good. He's good from crosses. I'd like to see him catch a little bit more. I don't know if...
Well, the one in the first half, yeah, he came out and he punched, and he should have caught. There's been a couple of moments, but now the first 2 games are done. They're settled down. I think they'll have a very good performance against Panama, and then hopefully he just goes from strength to strength.
I mean, it's some time ago now, Simon, but you remember what Graham Souness said to us about Jordan Pickford.
He's a bomb going off, yeah, he's waiting for a bomb going off. Listen, in the last 3 or 4 tournaments that we've been in, forget about penalty shootouts and opportunities that have been missed. The last 2 or 3 tournaments have not been about collective bargaining or goalkeepers. It's been about missed opportunities. We missed an opportunity against Croatians because we didn't change in the second half in the World Cup semi-final 2018, and Gav got a pass because it was his first tournament. We missed an opportunity in 2021 to win the Euros at home when everyone could see that the Italians were coming on and we didn't do anything to change it. We missed an opportunity in Qatar when we had the French on the rack and we weren't bold. The key component for me is Tuchel being bold in those moments. I don't care about the Ghanaians and a team that's set up to stop us from playing. When we play in the knockout stages, we'll be playing against opposition that will come against us, we hope, and then we'll find the space that we need, and we'll see the players that are capable of achieving outcomes achieve those outcomes.
Yeah.
So the big thing for me is not about collective happiness or the goalkeeper, although they play a massive part. It's when it comes on top and we play the Spanish or the French or the Portuguese or on paper a team that we might struggle against. That's what Tuchel's getting paid for. That's the moment that we will see whether there's enough chops in this side under this manager to try and win this tournament or not.
And you've said, John, you've seen here that maybe he hasn't been quick enough to change something.
I really like Thomas. We've spoken about him, and he will make these big decisions. I think he had an opportunity to make a big decision after 20 minutes because as a manager,
how do you hook a player off? How do you on
very
an international
easily
stage do you do
very
that?
Very easily.
20 minutes into a game.
Simon, you come into it when you're a top manager. Mourinho done it away to Fulham after 20 minutes. Took Joe Cole, Sean Wright-Phillips off. We went on to win the game 4-1. Didn't say a word to them two after the game. He just come in and went, I made a mistake, I got the tactics wrong. I made 2 changes. And that was it. It was done. It was dealt with. Top managers do it. And I was so keen for him to make that. Even at half-time, he didn't do it.
But at domestic level, when you've got access to these players all the time and you've got a relationship with them and you can have this relationship ebbing and flowing on a weekly basis, on international level, you see these players for 7, 8 games a season and you've got such a small relationship with them, all of a sudden, you've got a limited window tournament and you take a player, if you hook him, how do you maintain that relationship when you don't have the touch point that you have at domestic level?
Well, it's probably more difficult because he hasn't brought his best players with him. So the ones you've kind of chosen, you probably have to keep on side a little bit. This goes back
Even though you advocated for Jordan Henderson being a valuable item.
I still think he is. I still think he will be. But also, it doesn't help when he brings Reece James into midfield. And I'm going, if you're not going to bring Jordan on, and it's different because we're winning the game and stuff like that, if you're not going to bring Jordan on in these games, then you could argue you maybe should have brought somebody else, Gibbs White or somebody else, or Cole Palmer or something.
But he did make the change when he took Anderson off, Declan was there, and then he had Rodgers push forward in the midfield. So he knew it probably in the...
What was it, 60 minutes,
No,
57 minutes?
it was.
It's too late. It's too late because...
but he saw it early. I mean, he's a bright manager, but you're also thinking that you've got 3 points in the first game. It's not a debacle if you had a nil.
I don't think the win was critical against Ghana. I think that the thing that worries me after the two games, we conceded a couple of big chances against Ghana. We conceded 2 goals against Croatia, a little bit sloppy. So defensively, I think we need to be better. And I think you get that with a solid back five who's playing week in, week out. You know who's playing, you know who's not. And I think when you're a defender, you get in that rhythm of you know exactly what the person next to you is going to do. And at the minute, we're kind of bringing one in and there's a lot of change. I think defenders are different. Defenders and holding midfielders and goalkeeper are different. We want that. We want it to be regular. We want to know we're playing every week. With the midfielders you can bring on, you can change Jude for Rodgers, and he'll come on for 15 minutes and do his job. The wide players we spoke about as well, Harry Kane has to stay, but I think defensively you need a structure and players you understand how to play.
John, Thursday, June the 25th, where are we? 4:45 back at home, 11:15 here. I'll ask it, do England win the World Cup?
I still think we have a really good chance, yeah.
OK, all right. We'll take time out. We'll in the home straight here in New York. More from John and Brad and Simon and me after this. We're live on talkSPORT from New York.
I've had a lot of messages from folk back home saying that was a very Gareth Southgate-like England performance, and I understand the sentiment, and I do think Thomas Tuchel should take a little bit of criticism, Simon, for not reacting earlier. He could have hooked both wide players for me at half-time. I thought Madueke was poor. I don't understand what people see in Anthony Gordon. I can't believe that Barcelona have paid the money they have for him. Yeah. And it was only really when Saka and Rashford in particular came on that England carried any kind of attacking threat.
But it's interesting because people make a song and dance about Rashford. And when he starts for England, he very rarely sets the place alight. It's interesting that he switched. What I watched him do was switch Madueke to bench side because he obviously wanted to have a conversation with him during the course of the game. Rather than sub him, he put Saka on, and he put Madueke onto the left and attempted to drive him on. Ironically, some of the best moments came from Madueke. I think he's a speedboat without a brain, but the other people, including the England manager, think he's better than that. So there's obviously a situation where there's an expectation. Rashford comes into this conversation every time. And how many times has Rashford started for England? And we can look back and go, what a performance that was. Rashford's an impact player. There's a reason why Barcelona haven't signed him. There's a reason why he got marginalised at Manchester United and his form was so poor. And some of it's his attitude. So you can't just turn around and say, well, Rashford is a solution.
But should he have not been able to make an impact earlier, Simon? That's my point.
Possibly, but I don't think it was a Southgate-like performance. I think there was elements of the game that people can draw a parallel with, but England's attitude towards the game was not to try and survive it and accept a point. He threw so many attacking players on to try and achieve an account. That's nothing like Southgate. At the end, the reasons why the Ghanaians got a couple of chances in the end, and you're not going to go through a whole game without some jeopardy, was that England's midfield was reduced to actually offensive only. We took off anything that was vaguely resembling defensive, pushed out Declan Rice even further up and threw on every single conceivable attacker that we could possibly...
Hello, I'm Matt Fordham from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Okay, thanks for being with us today and every day here in New York. We're live in talkSPORT. It's been a special one today. It's Jim White, Brad Friedel, of course, John Terry and Simon, and we are live on talkSPORT, live on YouTube as well. I can hardly believe it, but you've got to cast your minds a bit forward after the World Cup. talkSPORT offering up to 150 live and exclusive national radio commentaries of the Championship, of League One and League Two. And the EFL Trophy as well as the playoffs across talkSPORT Network this year. So looking ahead to the start of next season, yep, we've got to do it. Friday the 14th of August, Wolves, Brad, kick off their season in the Championship against...
With a loss against Blackburn.
Against Blackburn, you're right.
Don't think I don't know.
And here's a date for your diary, folks. September the 19th, Millwall will host West Ham for the first time in 14 years at the Den.
As a friendly, right?
That's there you go. I'm not sure what I take from that. Mind how you go. Back here, Big John has been with us alongside Brad and Simon and myself. John, let's put the focus on Chelsea. So many people messaging in. I want John's take on this, on that, and the next at Chelsea. May as well go for it, John. You've been a bit outspoken, haven't you, about being overlooked for the interim managerial role at the club twice last season. Insisting, am I right, that no, don't worry, I'm not changing the mood here.
I wouldn't say I've been outspoken. I've just kind of give my views and my thoughts after Simon very kindly asked me. Apparently, I'm okey-cokey and I know this managerial.
Well, you're outspoken with White and Jordan. Maybe you've been uncensored elsewhere. Insisting no one at the club possessed better qualification or a deeper connection with the team. That's your mindset, and it remains your mindset, John, does it?
No, that's the facts of it, Jim. And it's like, honestly, my dream is to manage Chelsea one day. Will it ever happen if I don't go off and do the other bits? No, it won't. But when an opportunity arises like it did last year when Liam left the football club, there was nobody better. There was no one more qualified. I can't believe I'm going over this again. Sorry.
No, it's OK. Go for it.
But it's like, for me, there's no one more Chelsea. And listen, the owners, sporting directors have made a decision. That's what they go with. But the fans were calling for me. I felt I deserved an opportunity, whether it was for 1 game, 2 games, 3 games. We had a London derby against Spurs. We had a semi-final against Leeds. I just thought I should have been in and around it or be asked to be in and around it. That's OK for me to add that. And I had those conversations with ownership and sporting directors, and we had a very honest, open conversation, and they went down a different route, and that's their decision. So
how was it left at the end of those conversations? Did you think, I'm on here?
No, completely fine. It was post that, so decisions got made, and then I kind of wanted to then speak to them just to understand what their thoughts and things like that.
So why did they snub you?
That remains private. That's not for here. I'm not sure I got snubbed either. But
I see what you're saying. I mean, I've got to be honest with you here, John. There are a few Chelsea people in here. Assistant producer Joe absolutely worships you. And I think Joe, I'm sure if he was up here now, don't worry, I'm not going to bring you up. I think Joe would love you to get the opportunity, such as the opportunity you have just described. And I think many, Simon, hardcore Chelsea fans would think this guy will deliver, just as he did as a player.
Yeah, but, you know, with respect to John, you can't equate what he was as a player to that of a manager. Now, there's a yes and no case scenario. Did he merit the opportunity to be given the Chelsea manager's job? Not particularly, because he's got no managerial career behind him.
Well, that's
You've got a coaching career, yeah. You haven't got a managerial career. But given what they went with, then it's a difficult argument to suggest that there couldn't have been a space for John Terry to have gone in there and done what was particularly needed, which was just galvanise, get them together for a little bit and try and hold the fort for an incoming guy that was going to come in the summer. Now, whether he'd have been happy, now we saw this with respect to his mates. Frank came in to try and hold the fort. It turned into a disaster for Frank in terms of the consequences of being a Chelsea legend with all that goes with it and a team that can't perform. So careful what you wish for. So the argument in favour of John Terry, I like him. You know I like him. I think he's a great leader. Does that mean he translates as a manager? Who knows, because he hasn't done it yet.
You firmly believe you would?
I think that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
You firmly believe you would?
You know what? We don't know, as Simon, I've never been given that opportunity to do it. Now,
Michael Carrick did well.
Michael Carrick's a great
Let's fast forward.
Yeah.
John Terry being Chelsea manager isn't great for Chelsea because we have to be bigger than John Terry moving forward because I haven't got the experience. We need a manager. Alonso's coming in with bundles of experience. He's a young manager, loads of great new ideas. Hopefully he's going to get the reins to go and sign the players that he wants. But you strip it back to an interim opportunity, one game, there's no one better in the world. You can go and get the best manager in the world for one game. You can go and get Pep Guardiola. He's not more Chelsea than me, and that's my point. So hopefully this is the end of it. It's the last time I have to address this situation.
But why, just out of curiosity, John, why, I mean, again, I'll phrase it in a way that's pretty robust. Why haven't you had the balls to go straight into management? Some of your colleagues have. You took a different route. You went down the coaching route. You worked at Aston Villa. You went in with Brucey and whoever else there, Dean Smith, right, and cut your teeth there. But Frank and other people gone, you know, balls out. I am a manager, and that's what I'm going to do. So why have you gone a different route?
I felt, in terms of the coaching side of it, I felt like I needed to understand what it was to be like. I don't think you can just walk into those roles. Now, certain people have done, and I think because of my reputation, and people have a perception of me, whether they like me or they don't, there's a perception of me where I've interviewed for 3 jobs and got nowhere near it. Got told I had no experience to be a number one. Now, I've led Chelsea for 22 years, led dressing rooms, got people with me, not only players, but the whole football club, and galvanised everyone to kind of follow me in that way. I haven't been given the opportunity. Am I looking to be a manager now? No, I'm absolutely not. Very interestingly, when you're not looking, opportunities arise, and there's 2 opportunities I have at the moment, but I'm not looking. I'm not looking to go.
We're back home.
I'm not looking.
He just negotiated the 2 of them off one another.
I'm genuinely. I'm not looking to go down the route of being a manager and being in full-time football. I've made my. When I left Aston Villa, that's all I wanted to do was be a number one. I thought I would be a very good number one because that's what I've done for 22 years. Now, am I looking? No, I'm not. So I'm completely done. I'm now in the social media world.
And you're with us live in talkSPORT. I'm delighted about it. You've articulated that situation brilliantly. John, here's the thing. Xabi Alonso, in the little time we've got left, less than a minute or so, what does Xabi Alonso need to achieve in his first season at Chelsea?
I think Champions League football is going to be a big miss for us. So Champions League football, are we going to win the Premier League? I don't think we're there yet. I think we're a few years away from that. But I like the fact he's coming in. I think he's a forward-thinking manager. I think he plays a really good style of football. And he's young, he's just present, just come out the game as well. So he's got to understand these players more than anyone. I think any manager out there, whether you're young or old, understanding the players, especially now, of the way they are, is probably the biggest thing.
Do you think Enzo Fernandez will follow Cucurella to Real Madrid?
I hope not.
Sounds like it.
I'm gutted that Mark's left. I think he's been an unbelievable defender and he's a big leader around the dressing room, the way he does things on the training pitch every day. So Enzo's that as well for us. So I really hope he doesn't go because he's a big player for us.
Also to talk that Arsenal set to accelerate their interest in Morgan Rogers, John. Could cost them $100 million from Villa. Do you expect Arsenal to be up there next May, defending their title in style?
Yeah, I do actually. We've also discussed this on the show, and I think Arsenal, it's theirs to lose, I think, for the next couple of years. I think they've got a really good squad of players. So in terms of their squad, I think they're missing an out-and-out striker that's going to get them 20, 30 goals a season consistently. You look at the top sides over the last 20 years in the Premier League. They've all had it. Arsenal haven't really got that, and I think they're 1 or 2 signings away from dominating the Premier League for the next 2 or 3 years, unfortunately.
Dominating it?
Yeah.
Wow. OK. John, brilliant. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Jim.
We shall see. I reckon John gets his chance sooner than later, should he wish to manage.
In the
meantime,
I'm not looking.
After this advertisement,
he can just smooge around New York with Simon.
Agent Simon.
Brilliant. John, thank you for being with us.
Cheers, Jim.
As for you, you're heading off out of here, are you not?
Norway, Boston. Norway, France game tomorrow.
All right.
And then back.
I shall see you later. Are we going to the Mets tonight?
I think we are.
All right, we shall see. Thanks to the guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in yet again from us here in New York. Coming up next, Jeff Stelling and Gabia Bonlahor will be taking all of your calls on World Cup Game Day Live.